Add a touch of holiday magic to your day with the brand new Homeworthy episode. Today we'll be touring 3 festive homes, each showcasing dazzling Christmas decor. First, we'll explore a charming New Jersey cottage brimming with original fireplaces and old-world holiday charm. Next, we'll step into an enchanting New York residence of a legendary ornament maker. And then we'll head to an historic North Carolina home adorned with whimsical garlands and twinkling Christmas trees. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Kara. Welcome to my home here in New Jersey. I cannot wait to show you my holiday decor. Come on in. Hi, I'm Kara Brown. I'm a jewelry designer and I want to welcome you back to my home here in Lambertville, New Jersey. It was built in 1724 and it's 300 years old this year. The beauty that was created in the early 1700s still lasts today, and we really just try to appreciate and be stewards over what we've been given while we've been here. I have been in this home almost 20 years, and I just have to say it's been a blessing for our family and friends who come and enjoy our setting. So here we are in the entryway, and this is the only spot in my whole home where it's tall enough to have a Christmas tree. That has always been a challenge because, of course, I love Christmas trees and there's only room for one. But I love doing something different every year, and this year the theme throughout the house has been eucalyptus. So we took the tree and we stuffed it with real eucalyptus. We faux finished some antlers and we used real lemons and oranges and pineapples. I love using velvet ribbons and silk ribbons just to give it an old world Christmas feel, and then reflecting it again in the wrapped gifts. I don't usually use name tags. It makes it a little bit more of a surprise. So the names are on the bottom, and all the kids take turns finding each other's gifts, and it's just a fun morning on Christmas Day. They are in their 20s and they still run down the stairs to find their gifts from Santa. So the tree topper was a find. It's an old hand-carved angel from Italy, and I love using it every year. It's just a beautiful, I think it reflects the walls, and it just is a beautiful touch without being too much at the top of the tree, but still making a statement. I ended up finding this Mary, Joseph, and Baby Jesus, and this is from the Virginia Museum of Art. I have a great dealer, Joe Hanley, who found this for me, and it's just a treasure. As we go through the house today, I'll point out several treasures that I think are just fun, and my whole thing, I just think you keep your eyes open. So as we were choosing the colors for the tree and the just theme of the ribbons this year, we were looking around the home and we just decided that the persimmons and blues really popped. And so one of the inspirations was this old antique sign that I use in my home, and it's a little beat up like a lot of old things, but the beauty and just the things that it's seen and the just the age of it and the color just looked great here in this room, along with the painting by Anne Darby Parker. Everything, even though it's just a little bit different, it just pulls it all together with the colors that were chosen for this theme of our Christmas this year. I love decorating for Christmas in this jewel box of a home. when my brand actually began in the late 1990s, when I made Christmas ornaments with a good friend of mine out of antique jewelry. And Neiman Marcus ended up putting the ornaments in their top 20 stores. So every year I get to bring those pieces out and enjoy them around my home and just have memories of how it all began. I'm now a jewelry designer focusing on necklaces, but I do jackets and belts. But the origination of my creativity and along with a good friend began around Christmas ornaments, which you'll be able to see around my home today. Now you can see we're in the living room, and there were a few challenges because you can see the ceilings are way lower in here, so we had to be creative so that things didn't feel overwhelming when you walked in. We kept the coffee table a little more clear, but I did want to show you my ornaments. These are the ornaments that my friend and I hand beaded in the early 90s, and they start with a styrofoam ball, but there are about 1,500 to 3,000 beads on each of these pieces. They are all different. They're so fun. They're like my babies. They are more formal than most of the things in my home. So I just enjoy coming in and seeing them for Christmas. Sometimes people ask me if I should have kept them out year round, but I don't, because they're just really a special thing to bring out during this time of the year. And each one of these pieces took about 6 to 8 hours to make. So I'll have a little carpal tunnel from doing it, but it was all worth it. This is what the ornaments are what started me thinking about making necklaces. So I was cleaning out one August when my oldest left for college, and I was looking at the beauty of the old pieces made in the 30s and the 40s, and I realized that things today aren't made with the same quality. So I thought, why don't I make a necklace out of something old, but make it different than anyone else is making it today? So I took an old belt buckle that I had saved for one of these just in case I was going to make another, and I hand beaded it with blue beads from the 1950s, and I wore it, and that is the beginning of Kara Brown Designs necklaces today. Each one of these ornaments was just really a labor of love. Like I said, they're like my babies. So I love getting them out and enjoying them during the season. They're just a reminder of years gone by and time spent with friends making these special pieces. And I love being able to see the artisan work done in the early 1920s, 30s, and 40s on these pieces. So the piano during the year holds family photos, but with my team, with Jessica Malillo and the vision that we had, the peacock was in a different room, and we decided it just needed its moment in the sun. So we decided to use, again, the eucalyptus and my Christmas ornaments, and the peacock as the center. We brought in the greens, and then with the pop of orange, using the persimmon color on the tree and in the kitchen and here in the living room, it just all came together as this piano, enjoying like a new look for Christmas this year that I hadn't seen before, but it was such a fun thing to do, to just recreate things that I already had in a different way in this room. And this room is challenging because it is small, and as you can tell, I love to have my collections out and so for people to enjoy. But with that challenge, this keeping the presents here and under the tree, it just seemed to work and not feel overwhelming at the same time. So as you can see here on the mantle, we have the ornaments again, and we have fresh greens from our property as well as the eucalyptus. And this is a little more simplistic than the piano, which you just saw. So it's just kind of, it made the room work, the juxtaposition of abundance and a little more simplicity, but yet we still have the glistening of each ornament as just still the elevated look here in our living room. So in keeping with the ornaments, I made these Christmas trees really for myself. The ornaments were sold at boutiques in and around Texas, and of course Neiman Marcus put them around the country around 1996, 97, but the trees were just special, actually markers in my life. Actually, this one was made during a transition in my life when we were moving from Texas to New Jersey, and there's just something about creating and making something out of nothing. This was a styrofoam base, and then I took straight pins and antique jewelry and pearls to create this tree. I kind of felt a little out of control during my move, so this tree really came together as something that I could just control and make something beautiful when I felt a little chaotic. This one was just made during a Christmas one year when, I think there was a snowstorm, and I just wanted to use my time wisely. And then I have another over on the piano that I'd love to show you that I made similar to when I was making my necklaces. I had a lot of pieces left over after the business of making the Christmas ornaments transitioned. And so I decided to take the corals and the greens and browns and just make a tree that would just commemorate my time of the ornaments. Did I already have enough? Yes. Let me show you this. It has old buckles on it. It has brooches from the 1950s. This piece is probably from the 1920s. Each of these pins has 2 to 3 beads on it. So this was a labor of love. I would never sell it because it was so much time and energy that it took to create it. But I love bringing them out every year and enjoying them. The angel actually is a new find for me this year. She's from the 1920s and may have been used during the Olympics during that time, but I just think she is just glorious, and with the movement here on the coffee table, I just think it's such a precious piece, but a glorious piece at the same time to have as the center of the room, bringing all of the Christmas together. As you can see, I live in a home that has little rooms, and we are definitely not minimalists. We're maximalists here in this home. So I love to find corners that might surprise somebody when they see the holiday decor and Christmas decorations in different places. But I do have to say, I've had 2 wonderful women come and help me this year decorate and reimagine my pieces around the home. Carolyn Stevenson and Jessica Malillo have just been my angels during this holiday season to get my home ready for my children to come home and enjoy just a restful time after they're working hard around the country. Here we are in the dining room. I love setting the table. The table represents so much to our family. We laugh around the table, we talk around the table, we talk about our fears, we talk about our hopes and dreams, and I think that when you set the space for your family to relax and enjoy their time together, it just allows for everyone to just be themselves. And so here we are. I have this set for Christmas. Everybody has their name card so they know where their seed is, although they already know it anyway. This year, again, we used the eucalyptus, different varieties. In my swan, we used persimmons and fresh pomegranates. I did want to point out to you these beautiful long tapers that we used on the table. They're beeswax, they're handmade. Each one is a little different. They're not perfectly straight. And nothing in this house is perfectly straight. If you put something down on the countertop, it might be a little crooked. So I did love that these are very different. You don't normally see them on tables. They add height, they add texture, and I love that they're handmade. Even though we have these small, dark beams, and there's such beauty in them, the challenge is still to not make it feel like they're falling in on you as well. So we lightened the table with these beautiful hand-painted pumpkins by Carolyn Stevenson. And the swan, I just think, is kind of a different thing to use. It's an antique planter, but it was small enough to fit on the table as well as hold the fruits and everything that we love for this decorating season. And then again, we have the velvet ribbons that we use just to kind of feel an opulence, but these are all very simple things that you can also do at home. Each of the tablescapes is very personal. We have each person's name and they're hand calligraphied. The plates are antique Amari china. I'm going to show it to you. We've had these, my husband and I found these at an antique store early in our marriage, and we just love, we use them every year for Christmas. It's a little bit different than Christmas china, but with the colors of the oranges and blues, it's just kind of a timeless look. These plates would be nothing without the food. So one of our Christmas traditions is a green chili and rice casserole. We have that with like a tenderloin, but that sounds probably kind of weird to most people. The green chili and the rice casserole is a nod to our Texas heritage. It's a little bit spicy and a lot of sour cream and salt and pepper and grated cheese, but it is just something that is a simple dish that we just enjoy and our family looks forward to on Christmas morning. The china from the table came from this sideboard. We usually house it here during the year, but we took from the color of the china and used fresh persimmons to just bring nature as well to the Christmas decor. In all of the different spaces, you'll see the natural piece along with my old things. So I love the creativity of mixing the textures again and the colors. We also took the pine cones from around the property and spray painted them just to bring in the gold color. But I'd love to walk you over here and show you some more in the dining room. Here again, we have just a little sprig of the eucalyptus as well as the bells. But again, the same theme is carried throughout with the persimmon colored wrapping paper again and the silk ribbons. Our Statue of Liberty here, which kind of is an ode to the angel in the living room, as well as using the fresh garland here on the mantle. Just so that no one is concerned, this is not a currently working fireplace. It is a space in our home that we love and we don't want to change it. Someday we'd like to make it a working fireplace, but as of right now, it has not been touched since 1724. So it will be a project that is needed, but not to worry. These gifts will not be burned. This is a beautiful way just to use the space and allow for holiday Christmas decor to be carried over into our dining room. So throughout the whole house, we punctuated all of the eucalyptus and natural fruit and everything with punches of gold. I use gold in my jewelry. It's probably my favorite. I love a mixed metal look though as well, but here I found these gold carved wings that are angels' wings, but also just, I love Narnia. I'm kind of a fan of the series. So this is here year round, but we did add the wings just to add a pop of gold to this room, that when the light hits it from the entry, it allows this door to be seen where you might not have seen it otherwise. It just adds that like wow factor to the door. I love that I get to decorate and live here in New Jersey with so many creative people around me. For example, the Evergreen Christmas Tree Farm has an amazing place where people can go and cut your own Christmas tree and take it home and have something fresh in your home. Maranatha Farm has amazing products, and it's a permaculture, sustainable farm. You'll be able to see beautiful products in my kitchen that I use. Their honeys and their teas, there's nothing like it out there. There's a beautiful cake in my kitchen by Factory Girl Bakes, and she is just an artisan using her own cut flowers and things out of her garden to make beautiful cakes for people in our area. And I just feel so blessed to have these people around me. And now my children can come home and enjoy just rest here in my home during a busy season. Here we are in the kitchen, and I'm so excited to share with you all the artisans that have generously provided their baked goods and honeys and teas, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. I'd love to start here. First of all, Maranatha Farm it's a farm here in New Jersey. I talked about it earlier, but it's a sustainable farm where they're teaching people how to farm through permaculture in a sustainable way. So let's talk about this. They make these amazing shortbreads and gluten-free muffins, which are hard to find. My daughter is gluten-free, and gluten-free, really good products are few and far between. There's a lot of them out there, but the really tasty ones are harder to find. Again, we use the persimmons and plums and dried fruits and fresh fruits. I want to show you this beautiful bundle that Maranatha Farm, they sell this on the farm. These are dried garlics and lavender that they make and sell at their farm stand. They do honeys. We have their handmade sourdough crackers. Again, we just added some dates and fresh pomegranates to our mixture, as well as the fresh eggs. And again, who doesn't love an amazing cup of tea on a cold day? I love their teas that they make. The packaging is beautiful, but the tea is the best tea I think I've ever had. And tea wouldn't be, I don't like tea without honey. So again, this is just a wonderful farm. I just think everyone should follow along with them. But here, these are just choices we have here on the countertop, but I want you to come over here and see the table. In keeping with our old world theme, my house is 300 years old. We decided to take a beautiful cake and cover it with just an old world opulent look. A great bakery in New Hope, Pennsylvania, right over the river from me. She made this, and I'm actually speechless. We ended up taking some velvet ribbon, and Carolyn Stevenson hand painted these for the backs of the chairs, just to add something just a little different that you might not see. Each child has their own scene for their chair. Now there's a lot going on here, I know, but when you look at just the textures, when you're putting together your Christmas table, I really encourage everyone to use something natural. You can use your baked goods and then bring in a little bit of outdoors, because it just makes it so much more interesting in your decorating space. We took the chandelier, and again, as we used throughout the entire house, the eucalyptus, and then a little bit, this is some fresh greens from right outside in my garden. And then these are hand-painted Hungarian eggs with Christmas scenes on it. There's angels, and some are just, floral, but we just decided to, a nod to the eggs that we have over on the counter, that we would hang these just for their lightweight beauty and a little bit of interest. Again, we used the velvet ribbons, and when you just see the ribbons running through the whole thing, it brings it all together. I have a product that I make called a life jacket, and on those pieces there's a lot going on, but one thing that we do with the hand embroidery is keep it all the same, and it brings the piece together. So that's the same concept here with the velvet ribbon running through all this kind of craziness. Like, the ribbon helps bring the whole thing together. So on our table, we have here our take on a croquet bush. We assembled this by hand. I was putting toothpicks in, had to go get something to guard my fingers. It was hurting so a little bit. So we built this tower, and we actually decided we were going to do 2 of them. So we have the other one over here, but we ran out of materials. So there are no accidents in creativity. You just have to go with the flow and just have to pivot. There's a lot of pivoting that happens when you're a creative. So here we go. We built it up from the bottom, and then what were we going to do for the top? We went outside and found some fresh greens and wrapped a little bit of wired ribbon around the top, and then just used pine cones to take the same texture from here up top, and then we put a little pine cone around the bottom to just bring it all together. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I love the joy, I love the peace, I love the patience and kindness that we see in everyday people, and I am just thankful that we are able to rest and enjoy family during this precious time of year. We're outside now, and I'd love to show you the garland. We cut greens and used fresh magnolia from a tree. Carolyn Stevenson so generously went to her sister's house and trimmed the magnolia tree so that we could have fresh magnolia local to New Jersey here at the front on our garland. These huge pine cones were brought home from the Northern California area, and we used actually, if you will, a faux garland, but we added to it to make something so beautiful that you can't tell that it's faux, and it will last for the whole season. I could keep it up all winter if I wanted to, but it just, I tend to use cedar garland, and this is the best cedar garland I have ever found. The piece over the door is actually a garage sale find. It's a mid-century modern, probably wall piece, but we ended up using it, tacking it up at the top, and then sticking the fresh garland, the fresh evergreens, and the magnolia, and the orange branches all around it, just to create something different that you're just not used to seeing anywhere during the holidays. I love using bells. I think bells just create an old world feel. And there's just something about having garland around the door that just envelops the space. It makes it feel welcoming, and it makes it just feel so cozy, especially in this old farmhouse. These pine cone trees were a treasure that I found at another garage sale. I always have to stop. I can't help myself. But I've had these for a few years, and there's just something, the time that it took to take these pine cones, put them in this form, and paint each one. I had to bring these home with me, and I have a pair. Again, we have the persimmon colored paper for the presents, and then I love using just a pop of color outside with this antique Asian vase, and it's a treasure. But if you can't use the treasures you have around your home and in and outside, then what are they for? So I love bringing them from the outside inside out. I just feel like there are no rules when it comes to using the things that you have. You should use them. I'd love to walk over here and show you a funny thing. These Osage, these are things that we find around New Jersey. They fall from an Osage orange tree, and I posted about it on Instagram, and a lot of people laughed because they run over them on the side of the road, but they are so beautiful. And I love the chartreuse color just around in groupings, and anyone can go and find them around the roads. But when you put them together in your pots and put fresh greens in with them, it just gives them a new look and a beauty for your outdoors, indoors. We've used them all over the property this year for Christmas decorating. I want to show you this one-horse sleigh from the 1800s. We bought this sleigh from a family moving to New York City, and a friend of mine called me and said, "Do you want a one-horse sleigh?" And I said, "No, I really don't." And she said, "Well, they're moving to New York City and they've invested quite a bit in the sleigh, but if you want to make an offer, that would be great." And I was like, I have so many things. I really appreciate it, but no, I don't want a one-horse sleigh. And she said, "Well, they keep coming down. They need a buyer, and they don't have one. Would you like to buy one?" And it was my husband actually who said, "Yeah, we need a one-horse sleigh. Our house was built in the 1700s. Why not have a one-horse sleigh from the 1800s?" So we made an offer. They accepted. I bought it sight unseen, and it was delivered the next day. There's so many fun Christmas tree farms around New Jersey. I got mine from a place called Evergreen Christmas Tree Farm in North New Jersey, and it's such a great thing. I don't know if anyone's ever done it before, but you can go chop your own tree, choose your own tree, bring it home, and it lasts for the whole season. It's not like buying it at a big box store. You get to have something that is local and supporting local farmers, as well as having something beautiful that's fresh and enjoyable for the whole season. And I love being able to decorate outside with a Christmas tree, with the tapestry that grounds the sleigh, the fresh evergreens from the yard. We made wreaths for the dogs' necks. The dogs are terracotta British pieces from around 1860. It's just a beautiful entry for my kids to come home and really just feel the magic of the holidays. So I'd love to go show you my studio now. It's a great little spot for me and somewhere where I get to spend a lot of time, and we did some decorating there, so it'd be fun for you to get to see it. Come follow me. Here we are in the studio. This is my little special space where I bring clients to look at jewelry, and we've decorated it for Christmas. Again, we have the eucalyptus and ribbon flowing throughout, the same candles that again are just one of a kind. They're not perfect. Nothing in this house is perfect anywhere. We, again, in order to have the Christmas feel in this light and airy space, we added some greens from the yard. And again, here with that bird hanging there is actually an antique sign. It was an old sign used for someone's business. So we just added the same. It's a theme throughout the whole decorating process. We used a lot of the same materials, but it looks different in every space because the lighting is different, colors look different with the lighting, and we always, I don't like anything to be perfect. So everything's just a little bit off center. And again, this is a small space. It's not big. So we had to just use a little bit of each material here in order for it to feel like we're celebrating the season, but not be overwhelming at the same time. Walls were hand painted. The pieces that I chose, I have some old things like the Staffordshire, but I don't mind throwing in a mid-century modern bronze statue of a woman, as well as a raffia pig in the corner. It's just a fun, funky spot for people to come and try on jewelry. I have mirrors around so that they can see pieces and how they look on themselves. But I also have, a French hen that was my mother's that, I love bringing family heirlooms into each spot in our home as well. And my studio is just an extension of all of that. My home, I would have to say, is my love language. Everything I have in my home, I love. And I am so grateful that when my children come home, I want this to be a place of rest. I want my family and friends to come and just feel peace and be able to laugh and eat and love and enjoy each other in just a setting where they feel like they can rest. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's time to go. I have to get ready for my children to come home for Christmas. But I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday.
This holiday season, get ready to unwrap the most magnificent holiday homes with Homeworthy's 25 Days of Christmas. For the month of December, we'll take you inside the most heartwarming houses, decked out for the holidays in true festive fashion. From twinkling lights and elegantly trimmed trees to sparkling ornaments and cozy holiday charm, these homes capture the warmth, wonder, and beauty that make this season so special. So join us as Homeworthy celebrates 25 Days of Christmas. The magic starts now.
Raise your glass. Cheers! Merry Christmas! Happy holidays!
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hey, Homeworthy, welcome. I'm the Ornament King, and you can call me Christopher Radko as well. I've got a lot of sparkle to share with you. Come on in. Hey, Homeworthy viewers, I'm the Ornament King, and I'm also the artist Christopher Radko. I'm so excited to be sharing my holiday home with you, and we're going to get ready and take you on a sparkly tour. You know, it's certainly not a career I would have imagined getting into, but I'm a Christmas ornament designer, and I've been doing this for almost 40 years. People always wonder, well, how do you get started doing something like that? And it really started with a holiday tragedy. Our 12-foot Christmas tree crashed and all of my grandmother's beloved ornaments shattered. And I had a little hand in that because I had put the tree in a brand new Christmas tree stand and one of the legs buckled. And when all the ornaments laid shattered on the floor, my grandmother came into the living room and she kind of shook her head and she said, "Oh, Christopher, you've ruined Christmas forever now." And so it was that guilt, that pang in my heart that got me to realize I have to make up for this. I can't live with this guilt. So I went looking for glass ornaments, but back in the 1980s, everything was plastic or styrofoam. So I set sail to Europe looking for glass blowers, and I found some in Germany and Italy and Poland, and I commissioned them to make me some replacement ornaments. And when I brought them home to the States, all my friends said, "Hey, where did you get these beautiful glass ornaments? Can you get some for us?" So as a little hobby, on my lunch hour, I started selling Christmas ornaments, and it just took off. People loved the ornaments I designed, and before I knew it, in a couple years, designing glass Christmas ornaments became my full-time job. A lot of people remember me from my former company, which I started back in 1986. But I sold that company in 2005, and I'm no longer connected with that company. Instead, I had a very long non-compete, which expired, so now I'm back, and my new brand is the Ornament King. And it's, I think, appropriate. You know, the Washington Post last year did a great profile of me, and they said the Ornament King is back, so I'm sticking with their moniker. I love what I do. I'm so glad to be able to continue doing what I love. This is my second act in my life, and maybe a comeback, if you will. And so I'm working as hard as ever, but I love my work. And I really feel if you do something you love, you're not really working, you're following your mission. And my mission definitely is to create memories, to let my ornaments be memory makers as they connect families and generations and bring beauty to people's homes. For many years, I've been blessed to live in Garrison, New York. Garrison is like Brigadoon, if you remember the musical with Gene Kelly from the 1950s. And once you stumble on this little village, you really never want to leave. And you only kind of discover it once every 100 years. So the moment you show up, you got to kind of make up your mind. Well, I did. It's famous because the movie Hello, Dolly with Barbra Streisand was filmed in Garrison down by the river. It's a very small town. There's less than 2,000 people living here. Over 60% of all the land here is either state park or federally protected, so you can't build on it. So it's very, very quiet. There are no shopping malls, no highways or anything like that here. So it's like a secret little hideaway. I live in a home that was built literally a century ago in 1924. It's a solid stone house. It's got high ceilings, and that's important for me. As Mr. Christmas, I need to have high ceilings to decorate and feel that spaciousness. But the stone house makes it very quiet, and it just feels solid and cozy. When I get home from traveling or doing events or charity appearances, I get to feel like, this feels so good, I'm at home. Me and my dog just love it. I enjoy gardening, so I have a beautiful rose garden, and it's a joy to be here. But it's not that far from New York. I can hop on the train and be in New York City in maybe an hour and 20 minutes, so it's an easy connection if I want to go see a Broadway show or go out and paint the town red. So Garrison, a magical place. And over here, I welcome you to my dining room. This is the scene of so many special dinners and gatherings with my loved ones and friends. It's a great place for parties and anniversaries, and certainly for Christmas dinner. So the dining room is decorated for Christmas, and you can see this modern fireplace here with the garland that I set up. Now, each room has a different kind of garland. I use artificial garlands because, again, with the heat and everything, I don't want any needles to drop. But I multi-layer the garlands, so I use a basic garland below as a background for uplift, and then I add special branches like the arborvitae branches and the sugar pine branches. I've used yellow lights, green lights, and twinkling white lights to bring a little bit of life to this garland. And lots of golden branches, some golden white nutcrackers, and these very playful holiday elves. They're kind of our hosts of the evening for Christmas. There's the table itself, which, as you can see, is set up for 8. And it's got our heirloom candlesticks from the late 1890s, crystal from France, also vintage. and gold charges as a good background, matches the colors of the room. A lot of people are very interested in the walls of this room. The walls are all faux finish. They're beautifully and exquisitely painted, and the effect is green onyx. A lot of people think it's green malachite, which would be a very fair guess, but it's actually a close-up of green onyx that has these special circles in it and the wavy pattern that you don't normally see in malachite. The lights are all Italian, and even the chandelier is vintage Italian. So lots to enjoy in here and good times to be shared. So happy to share it with you. One of the things I love about this house is that the dining room is a separate room. I like having a room that fulfills its assignment. Some homes are more contemporary, where the living room flows into the kitchen, flows into the dining room. But I like being able to move from one space to the next and have the experience of that space enclosed within the four walls. So this is the dining room. It overlooks the rose garden in the backyard, and it's a fun place to be. Usually guests come and greet me in the living room, and we have cocktails and hors d'oeuvres there, and then we walk over to the dining room for the formal experience of a very special meal. So follow me into the hallway. The hallway serves to separate the various rooms on the main floor. It's got a lot of watercolors, favorite paintings that I've collected over the years. To this side is the study. Over here is the grand circular staircase hallway. It feels like a grand old home. I love the tradition here. I think it's all about the details in a home. The wonderful Italian wallpaper, the drapes over here. I love florals and I love pom-poms. So it kind of has a holiday feel, but it's also playful as well. And you'll see more of this color brought into the study and the way I decorated in there as well. The lights that you see overhead were also found in Germany at a flea market there, and I had them rewired and installed here as well. There's also a beautiful chandelier in the hallway, which I look forward to sharing with you if you follow me up here. I love a circular staircase and the front door that I greeted everyone at. But this reminds me a little bit of Auntie Mame. I kind of feel when I swirl down the staircase that I'm, being uncle, the uncle version of Auntie Mame greeting my guests. I know we're a celebrity-driven culture, and I've been very fortunate that a lot of famous people have paid retail for my ornaments. I'll never forget the day I got a call from the Neiman Marcus buyer, and she said, "You'll never guess who was just in here, Elton John. He bought a whole tree. We're shipping the entire tree to his house." And then another time I was at Saks Fifth Avenue and I was doing a signing event, and who should show up but Barbra Streisand's assistant, asking me, "Hey, my boss would like to know, why aren't you doing Hanukkah ornaments?" So I started doing Hanukkah ornaments as well, and I continue doing so under my new brand, The Ornament King. One time I was in Hawaii. I had just landed in Honolulu, and I was checking my cell phone, and this message said, "Hey, it's Bobby, give me a call." I didn't know who Bobby was, so I press redial. I say, "Hi, this is Christopher Radko calling. You called me. I don't really know who you are." And he said, "Oh yeah, Bobby De Niro." It's like, what? Like, "Oh, come on, you're pulling my leg." And, I kind of said, "Make my day," or whatever, whatever the right word was to say. But he said, "No, I met you at Whoopi Goldberg's house," and that was true because I decorated her house for Christmas. And he said, "Can you please, I know it's last minute, but please come decorate my house up in the Catskills and my apartment down in the city." And I said, "Absolutely." So that was really fun too. But I've worked with a lot of celebrities. Katharine Hepburn was a big collector, Jimmy Stewart, of the earlier generation, Gregory Peck as well, and Bruce Springsteen bought a whole Christmas tree of my ornaments. And then the younger generations, the models like Gisele Bündchen and Heidi Klum. I guess anyone who loves Christmas, sooner or later they're gonna knock on my door and say, "Christopher, we need a little bit of your sparkle in our home this Christmas." So this is the study. It's a very bright, sun-drenched room, and it has a great view of the rose garden beyond. I love hanging out in here and just catching up on daily work and emails. It's a combination of something old and something new. So like, for instance, over here is this antique pump organ. You actually use the foot pedals on the floor and you fill it up with air, and that produces the sound once you hit the keys. I'm finding a restorer to come in and get it going again because it's quite old. It's from the 1880s, and it even has the original clock, which I'm looking forward to having restored as well. Isn't that great? And the wonderful maple wood around. Do I play? No, I don't. So I have to take lessons. It's sort of like if you build it, they will come. In my retirement, I look forward to being able to actually play the organ or play the piano in the living room. But until then, I want to make sure it's tuned and ready to go. It's my great-great-grandfather up here. He's keeping an eye on me, making sure I design enough ornaments for each Christmas season. I love collecting antiques and prints. So you'll see on the wall framed prints of insects and fruit and birds. I love birds. I have a lot of bird feeders outside. And so I was lucky to find them in Paris, in the Marché aux Puces, which is the flea market in northern Paris, and I bought them all and had them framed. I think they go well in this room with the outdoors. I'm bringing a little bit of the outdoors in to the experience here. And that goes for the mantle that I decorated as well. I picked the colors of this room, so we have pinks and pale greens and celadons and whites in the garland, some roses because the rose garden is just a few yards away, and a champagne colored ribbon to weave through. But you can see again the fuchsia pink and lime green lights, all the beautiful hand painted ornaments that I created this year, and even the birds. I have birds with spun glass tails clipped onto the wreath. And there's a little bit of motion here as well on the wreath with some of the twinkling lights. I never like to have just solid color. I like to have a little bit of motion with the lights flickering on and off. It's gentle. It's not going to give you, a stroke looking at it, but it has that kind of like pulsation, especially in the evening when the outdoor lights go down and you can just enjoy the warmth and the golden glow of the garland on the fireplace. It's really not that hard to decorate a wreath or a garland. I know it looks, very lush and beautiful, but basically I go to craft stores, I buy the wreaths ready-made, the base of them, and then I take a pine garland and I wrap it around the wreath to give it more texture and depth and even to make it a little bit larger. I add a lot of pluses like the berries, some of the silk leaves, the flowers. The ribbons are always wire edged so they can hold the shape that you place them in. You can see there's a little wire trim over there that will enable you to shape the ribbon and it will stay that way. I add pine cones and of course the lights itself. Now I have a little trick I did here. Since I wanted the wreath lighted, but I didn't want to have an extension cord, what I did is I extended the ribbon here, but the lights are kind of hiding right behind there. So that's a little cheat, but don't tell anyone. But it looks very natural. This way, you can have both parts lighted. Also on the main garland, on this fireplace, I start with a base regular garland, and then I add the additional juniper garland on top. So it's two garlands layered on top of each other. And then it's just a matter of adding floral picks, pine cones, and wiring on the ornaments and the roses. I add two kinds of lights. I have the mini lights, as you see here, and then I have the C7 lights. The C7 lights are generally LED now, so they have a nice glow, but they last a very long time, the LED lights. And you can see some flickering and some pulsation from the blinking lights as well. But it coordinates with the room. The pinks and the creams and the salmon colors coordinate with the colors of this room. So it's all of a piece. This is exactly that. It's like a miniature greenhouse. And this is a Victorian piece that I bought in Italy. I loved it because of the curved glass. And this is what the Victorians did. They had plants and flowers inside. And even in the winter time, you would have plants growing inside there, and you'd have a little bit of that outdoors brought inside to your house. So this is a fun piece I picked up in Italy. It's my daydream room. So I just love to, you know, plop in one of the chairs and just, sometimes in the summer I'll open the windows and listen to the bird song. It's got a view of the fountain in the backyard. And so it's very much a room of serenity. After a tough day of work, I love to come here and just unwind. A lot of people ask me if there are special trends or themes for Christmas. And me being such a traditionalist, I tend to go back to what I remembered as a child. So I do like the larger size light bulbs on a tree. You'll see that in a moment. I like colored lights, but they don't all have to be primary colors. They can be fuchsia and lime green, depending on what color your room palette is. I've noticed that there's a lot of pink in Christmas now, so it's almost as though pink is the new red. And also some earth tone colors still mean something, like the chocolate browns or the bronzes, but then to throw in a dash of bright color as well, like a lime green, to make it wake up. But again, I'm a traditionalist, so for me, more is more. I love the morning sunlight in this room, so a lot of times after breakfast, I'll come in here to do my morning emails. It's a very serene room, and I have 3 windows that overlook the garden here and the fountain off in the distance. It's so sweet for me to greet the day in this room. As you can see, some of the light is still in here from the morning. And yeah, there's the rose garden, and in the early spring I can open the windows and breathe in all the scents, so it's a very magical place. I think there is something really special about glass ornaments. I think perhaps because we remember them from our childhood, and maybe we received the ornaments from our parents or grandparents. There's also almost a metaphysical process into making an ornament. It's mixing all the waters, the elements, water, air, fire, and mineral. It takes a whole week to make just one ornament. It's mouth blown in the hot flame. It's silvered on the inside with shiny sterling silver, and then all the layers of paints and lacquers and glitters that are applied on the surface of the ornament. You can feel the artisan's heart and their touch in every single ornament. And as I like to remind people, it takes the human breath to breathe life into every single ornament. I think that's kind of visceral. You feel the magic in each one. These ornaments, these glass ornaments, are so magical. And I think there are a lot of reasons why. For instance, they're actually made in the same workshops that the ornaments were made in back over a century ago in countries like Poland and Germany and Italy and the Czech Republic, which are the birthplaces of glass ornament making. And the whole process of making them is pretty cool as well. You know, it takes a human breath to breathe life into every single ornament. And the ornament starts with a glass bubble, a clear glass bubble like a light bulb, and it's blown in the hot flame and kind of inserted into a mold, such as a Santa Claus or an angel mold or a snowman. And then on the next day, they pour liquid sterling silver on the inside of every single ornament to make it shiny and reflective. And then on subsequent days, there's layers of paints and lacquers and glitter, all the way down to the eyelashes and the blush. I think people feel the authenticity of these ornaments, and that's why they've become heirlooms. And people hand them down to their children and grandchildren. In a sense, my glass ornaments become memory makers as they connect the great-grandparents to the grandparents to the parents and children and grandchildren and so on and so forth. I kind of know that even 100 years from now, long after I'm gone, people will be decorating, I guess, Christmas trees on Mars, and they'll have my ornaments on those trees as well. And so now the next room we'll want to go into is the living room. Come on over. So now we come into the heartbeat of the house, which is the living room. My favorite room of the house for sure. Here I have a table that's faux finished again to look like malachite in this case, green malachite. And I have a garland here sprinkled with silver and red and gold check bead stars, a little bit of sparkle, and some happy ribbon, again coordinating to the room. But the best is yet to come. Down this way, it's the Christmas tree, of course. I am so lucky each year to have a Christmas tree that I can decorate and call my very own. This is a 9.5-foot tree. Even me at 6'2", the tree is taller than me, which is the way it should be, because then I feel like I'm still a little kid looking up in wonder and awe, like, wow, that Christmas tree is so tall and beautiful. A lot of friends say, now, Chris, should I get an artificial tree or should I get a fresh tree? You could really go either way, but there are differences. The problem with the limitation of a fresh tree is that it'll only last a few weeks before it starts to dry out. Also, if you have a lot of ornaments, a fresh tree might not be able to hold the weight of the ornaments, and the branches, the limbs will start to sag, and you don't want the ornaments falling off the tree midway through the holiday season. So instead, I get a man-made tree. The brand is actually Park Hill. I consider them one of the best trees in the market. And I love the tree because structurally, it is very sturdy. The armature, the metal wiring of the branches is very strong, so it'll bear the weight of extra lights and lots of ornaments. Also, the Park Hill tree offers you the opportunity to decorate deep inside the tree, meaning that there's lots of room from branch to branch. It's more like an unsheared natural tree. See how much room is between the branches. You can really hang a lot of ornaments and they'll have breathing space on the tree. A lot of people also ask, well, do you do colored lights or white lights? I do both. So in this case, the tree comes lighted with a soft white LED light, but then I augment that lighting by adding C7 bulbs. These are the LED C7s, just like the ones we grew up with, but I use multicolored all through the tree. And also, if you look, you'll see there's some twinkling lights as well to create a little bit of that life and magic on the tree. Now, after I light the tree, well, first, almost forgot. You have to, when you take the tree out of the box, make sure you open up the tree. Spread the branches, make sure they're all perky and lifting up to the sky. And then I use the star method of opening up the branches like a finger with the 5 fingers. And you want to make sure that all the branches are open and spread and kind of lightly pointing up in the air, because then you can have tips to hang ornaments on. Once you've opened up the tree and fluffed all the branches and added all the lights, then I add a lot of floral picks and berries. They become part of the background of the tree and they help to fill in some of the spaces on the tree. So you'll see I have velvet red poinsettias, beautiful red poinsettias, just for color inside the tree. I add ponderosa pine cones around the base of the tree and also deep inside to cover up the trunk. And then I add lots of red berries all through the tree. Now, initially it looked like your tree is all red, but in fact, once you add all the ornaments, you don't notice them as much. They just create a more interesting tree. It's not just a tree and glass ornaments, but a tree with florals. And again, depending on the decor of your house, you might choose silk orchids or chrysanthemums or other flowers that might, or peonies, whatever. You can really let your imagination go wild as you add the additional picks to the tree to bring a little bit of that floral feel to the tree before you start decorating with the ornaments itself. I don't think there is much space left on the tree to decorate. My motto is, if you can still see the tree, you're not done decorating yet. But I would say there's close to 450 ornaments on the tree. It's decorated all the way around, mostly in the front where all my favorite ornaments are. But that's a lot of time, and each one is individually hung on, and clasped onto the tree. Hanging ornaments, ornaments on top of the branches like the little mushroom or this little Santa or the bird, those go on top of the branches. Hanging ornaments as well. And so really it's very well filled. There's a lot of interest. You can look at this tree for hours and really never see the same ornaments twice. Because like, oh, I just noticed that, I just noticed that. There's a lot of detail, and that's the way I like it. Because again, after a hard day of work, I love to come home, you know, plop myself down on the sofa and just put on some Christmas music and watch the twinkling lights and all the beautiful ornaments that I created that year on my Christmas tree at home. Well, I have a lot of very traditional shaped ornaments. That's very important for me. So I have ornaments with reflectors on them, such as this one over here, or then wandering over here, look at this one. Now the reflectors were originally created for the Christmas tree when 100 years ago, before the advent of electricity, people actually put candles on their trees. Now the trees were very fresh, they were cut down Christmas Eve, so there was very little risk involved when you were in the room when the candles were burning. But the reflectors on the ornaments would shine the light back out in the room. So I like them because they're prismatic and colorful. One of my favorite ornaments this year is Dolly Delivers. That's this Dolly Parton ornament, personally approved by Dolly herself. It's a glass ornament hand-painted by women in Poland, and that, of course, is still available from my company, but 20% of all the sales, of all the proceeds, go to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. She's so amazing. Not only does she sing, but she also donates 3 million books every single month to kids who need to learn how to read all over the country. And so in support of her foundation, I've created this ornament of her for this holiday. So I hope everyone will consider getting a Dolly Delivers ornament, you know, by the Ornament King, that's me. And she thanks you as well. Dolly Parton thanks you as well, because it's for a very good cause. Another one of my favorites is the Tin Man. Over here, this Tin Man is made in Italy. It's an Italian ornament, and he's got his heart, so he's ready for Christmas, the Tin Man. He's a great one. I also like spaceship and Santa in space designs. So here is Santa in a space rocket. There he is. And then, of course, if you pan the camera up here, hiding behind the stars, a Martian. See, there's a little Martian ornament that's also made in Italy. And that's one of the reasons I have a lot of stars and comet shapes on the tree as well, because I like that celestial feel on my tree. Some people feel that it was Martin Luther who first introduced the idea of candles on the tree to inspire us to think of the celestial happenings of Christmas and the stars in the sky. So we continue that tradition today with Christmas lights on our tree. But I like spaceship themes. Here's a little UFO guy flying on a spaceship. He's really, really sweet. Also, I guess I'll point out that a lot of the ornaments have intricate detail on them. Here's one that I hope you'll be able to see up close. It's really incredibly detailed. He's a Santa, and look at that folk art costume he's wearing. And when you turn him around, he's as pretty in the back as in the front, and there's a peacock painted on the back with all the flowers. So that's exquisite amount of work, not just on the front of the ornament, but on the back where hardly anyone looks. So I love the painted detail. I love celestial themes. I like whimsy, you know, like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz or Santa in a spaceship. There's a lot in here for the kid in me, because the kid in me is definitely alive at Christmas. I'm lucky in my community to have a lot of friends, and they bring over their kids to enjoy the tree. Sometimes we have a contest where I will hide, let's say, a vintage radio on the tree. And then the first kid that finds the vintage glass ornament radio wins an extra gift on the holidays. I'll show you what that vintage radio looks like. Let's see if I can find it. It's so well hidden. Ah, it's right here. See? So it's the only one on the whole tree. It's like an old, 1930s Walton's family radio. I have a typewriter on the tree because I love writing. So I have a hidden typewriter as well. Do you want to see that? I'll let you know over here. It's right over here. If you come around, you'll see the royal typewriter. So I love that game of hiding ornaments on the tree and then challenging friends and especially their kids to come and, try and find that missing or hidden ornament on the tree. A lot of people ask me, hey, Chris, where do you get your ideas from? You're so prolific with all these designs. And, you know, it always starts with a good bottle of champagne, to tell you the truth. But in all seriousness, I get a lot of ideas from the ornaments I remember when I was a kid. So the ornaments that inspired me as a child very much, you know, suggest the ornaments that I would like to make today. Here we are at the living room mantle, and I chose to make it coordinate to the Christmas tree. So we use the red ribbons and the red velvet poinsettias. But again, even something as beautiful as this is really quite easy to try at home. What I do is I go to craft stores. There are a lot of them, like Michael's or At Home or Hobby Lobby. And a lot of those stores have garlands available as early as July. And so you might be in your flip-flops, but you can already start pulling together some of the garlands. Again, I always do a 1-2 thing. I put a base of just solid green garland, and then I add another layer of the more finer, the more refined garland. Through this garland, I've woven a string of gold balls. It's like a long garland branch, and I weave that around the garland to bring out some of the color, but again, to hide the branches. I've used mini lights. I loved mini lights as a kid. I remember those back in the 1970s, so they're back in town on my tree. I actually still use incandescent lights. I think the glow is very special with an incandescent light bulb. There's a warmth that LED light doesn't always have. You'll see here I added a couple of golden reindeers, and I added the finials as well. The finials usually go on top of a tree, but you can use them as part of your garland display as well. Or if you'd like, you can use them architecturally by putting them over candles in a candlestick holder, and then you can have a bunch of them on a table if you want for the finials. So this is a very traditional design over here with the holly and the ruby red velvet ribbon. The fireplace itself is French. It's the only so-called new fireplace in the house. It's actually an antique French fireplace, a Norman fireplace from the 1700s. The previous fireplace had a lot of damage on it, so I opted to bring in this very special fireplace from France. The mirror is from Italy. They do a lot of great carving there. So are the wall sconces. Those are from Italy as well. And they feature a swan head and then the candlestick holders as well. And as you can see, also, the walls themselves are painted a very warm peach color. And you think, wow, that's pretty daring. But you know, peach is a great color. It's very relaxing, and it's not jarring. But also, we all look good with peach color, you know? It just kind of creates a warm glow, and I think it carries forth to the way we feel in this room, that kind of warmth and relaxation that the peach color offers us. So you'll see that in my carpet, you'll see that in the sofas, and in the drapes as well. And I just can't say enough about this room. I can't wait to start inviting friends here for Christmas. My idea of decorating is that it's okay to mix old and new, but the way I combine them is by color. So I may have an antique chair next to a contemporary sofa, but if the colors speak to each other, then it is just perfect. So for instance, you know, our little side chair here by the window is an old French chair from the 1880s. It's covered in bright contemporary fabric, but with the floral feel because I like flowers so much. But then we have these modern sofas and side chairs as well. They are Italian as well, but they're brand new. But they have an old world feel because of the cords that cover and hold together the sides. You can, if you wish, undo the cords and then make it into like a reclining bed as well. I don't do that, but it has that look of earlier centuries. The carpet is from Pakistan and it's hand woven. It dates back to the 1920s. And again, for me, it's primarily the colors that you see that all come together. Even this Hopi Indian feather headdress. Again, for me, it's primarily, well, I like the historicism of it, but I love how the colors blend with the rest of the room. So it's okay to have old and new, reflecting your different chapters of your life and also your various points of travel. But as long as the colors weave it all together, it somehow, becomes a wonderful effect. The beams are walnut and they've been restored. I think the last family that lived here were heavy smokers, and so we had to have them, cleaned and scrubbed. But yes, they are original, and it was hard to create such a large room without beams. So I'm glad they're here. I love creating an intimate feeling for even a large number of guests. Sometimes I'll invite a friend to play the piano, maybe a concert pianist who lives locally, and she'll come and play a lot of holiday tunes. We'll be, serving champagne and hors d'oeuvres here. There are lots of chairs, so people just kind of pull up and sit around the table here in the front of the room, and a lot of people can fit on the sofa, surprisingly. But then we bring in extra chairs. The idea is to create a circle, kind of a hosting in the round. And even though the chairs are different sizes and shapes, people manage to fit in and feel very cozy. I even have a tiny child's chair that I include, and I'm usually the one sitting on it because people's like, oh, I can't sit on that. I'll show that to you. It's right over here by the piano. See, that's a little child's chair. And I fit on it, yes, even though I'm 6'3". So, but how great it is to have live piano music playing, whether it's Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. Just, the sound wafting through the house of some music playing. It's just, nothing beats that. For me, the specialness of holidays is they give us a chance to forget the rat race for a moment, to catch our breath from the daily grind. And decorating the home helps to heighten that experience. It identifies that something special is going on. Of course, at Christmas, the Christmas tree itself is a centerpiece of gathering for your family and friends. I love traditions at Christmas. I love the Christmas foods, the Christmas music, making a bûche de Noël, for instance. My mom was born in France, so we always have a Yule log. It's a chocolate cake with cream and icing, the bûche de Noël, so I always bake one of those. My dad was born in Poland, so we follow the Christmas traditions from a Polish origin, which is on Christmas Eve, you have an all-fish meal. So, seafood and fish, different kinds of fish and seafood. That's also true in Italian families, having the all-fish menu for Christmas Eve. I love singing in the choirs and in our community gatherings in Cold Spring. Usually the first Saturday of Christmas, all the stores are open late and we go choiring and caroling all through the village. Making a special meal for your friends, or wrapping a gift, or filling out a Christmas card by hand. All these things that bring your handwork and your craftsmanship to it, it's a direct connection to your heart. And I think people feel that heart energy when they receive that wonderful meal, that bountifulness at your table, or that hand-wrapped gift, or even something handmade that you've created for someone. I think that anything can be store-bought, but if you make things by hand, that's that little magic ingredient that I think says, yeah, I love you, I care about you. I am an avid gardener. It's really my happy place being outside and in this rose garden. Most of the roses are finished because it's getting closer and closer to Christmas. But as you come through here, you'll see there are still some colors, occasional roses here and there, the fountain, the view back at the house. Perhaps my favorite event is in the springtime when all the roses are in full bloom. And I invite a harpist to come in and play music, and I have a little tea party in the garden. Tea and punch and champagne, and people just stroll through the garden and smell the roses. A lot of them are old world heirloom roses from France, David Austin roses as well. Some of the roses date back to the 1890s and early 1900s. Very, very precious varietals. I think this is a place also to relax. And I think in contrast, we all have such busy lives. So how good it is to be able to create a place that you can just relax and reconnect with nature and maybe read, some Emily Dickinson, some poetry or what have you, or just invite your friends over for a little afternoon lunch here in the rose garden. It's going to be all ready for Christmas. Yes, little house in the countryside in Garrison, New York. And it's got a little bit of France, a little bit of England, and a whole lot of Santa, especially inside. You can see the lavender that I grow here as well. I'm known for growing lavender. They used to call me Johnny Lavender Seed because everywhere I go, I give people gifts of lavender plants and teach them how to grow lavender. I used to be a lavender farmer during my non-compete time. The 10 years I made beautiful organic lotions and oils and things like that. So I still love lavender and I still have it around the house. So here we are at the front of the house. This is a century-old house. It was literally built 100 years ago in 1924 and actually finished in 1925. It's solid stone, so the chunks of stone are actually blocks piled on top of each other. It's not just a stone facade, which is how many newer homes are built. It's got a solid slate roof. It was recently reconditioned, so it's going to last another 100 years. And it's very much in the style of the French Norman chateaus. If you have a chance to visit France, you'll see a lot of homes in this style. When I first saw this house, it was love at first sight. I think the high ceilings, the beautiful turret in the center of the house, it feels like a little castle, and I think it's just perfect for the Ornament King. So we all need a welcome wreath, and so that's what this oak door has. A wonderful wreath that I designed picking up the colors of the stone. So I chose the dove gray, or some of the pale lavender flowers, and some of the silver and the eucalyptus colors, all very soft, muted colors that blend with the environment. I guess you could say I'm a Christmas expert after being in the ornament world for almost 40 years. Christmas means so much to me, especially the spirit of Christmas. It's something I choose to keep alive in my heart all year long. It's not just a business at all to me. Yes, I make beautiful Christmas ornaments. I'm thrilled that they're still being made in Europe for me, but it goes beyond that. It's about the love, the friendship, the connectivity that Christmas offers us, and that shouldn't just be for one day a year. So even though it might be Easter or 4th of July or Mother's Day or any other season of the year, I like to keep Christmas spirit alive in my heart all year long. And that's about keeping an open heart and being kind to people and considerate and helping others, because we're all in this together after all. And so to me, that's living the Christmas spirit all year long. And then I keep Christmas alive all year long just by sharing those feelings and not stopping on December 26th. Home. I think we're all looking for home. For me, that is a place that I create. It's like a nest, a cozy little calm in the eye of the storm. As you can imagine, I travel a lot for work, for my profession, and having a chance, and there's so much changing, day by day, whatever the headlines are in the papers or on TV. The world is changing faster than I ever thought would happen. But when I get to come home to everything that's familiar to me, and smell the smells of my own garden, and come back to my own bedroom closet, and find my sweaters or what have you, and then inviting people to my home, high school friends and college friends, that's magical. That becomes an anchor, if you will, in an ever-changing world, my home is my oasis, my sanctuary from life. And so it's a place I can work on my memoir. It's a place that I can maybe create new designs for next year. It's a place I can share with friends and loved ones. So to me, home is all those things. It's sanctuary. It's that center in the eye of a storm for me. So I love being at home, and I hope to be at home more often next year and not to travel quite as much as I have this year. But when you have a new company, you know, a fledgling company such as my new company, The Ornament King, I have to be out and you know, making the rain dance, if you will. So, but home it's solace. It's my heart. Heart is where my home is. And Homeworthy folks, it's been so great having you be part of my holiday traditions. So until next year, have a great holiday and a Merry Christmas.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more. This holiday season, get ready to unwrap the most magnificent holiday homes with Homeworthy's 25 Days of Christmas. For the month of December, we'll take you inside the most heartwarming houses, decked out for the holidays in true festive fashion. From twinkling lights and elegantly trimmed trees to sparkling ornaments and cozy holiday charm, these homes capture the warmth, wonder, and beauty that make this season so special. So join us as Homeworthy celebrates 25 days of Christmas. The magic starts now.
Raise your glass. Cheers! Merry Christmas! Happy holidays!
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Courtney. Welcome to my home in Monroe, North Carolina. Let me show you around. My name is Courtney and I'm the face behind the brand Heart and Home Crew, and today we are in my historic home in downtown Monroe. So my husband and I actually lived in Canada, and about 2 years ago we decided to make the move to North Carolina where my family is, and we were looking for a home but we couldn't find one right away, so we actually moved in with my mom, and we thought it would be a short stay. We have 4 children. We're only going to be here a month, Mom, no worries. And it turned into a year, and that was mainly just because we had to get my husband his citizenship, so it took a minute. But while we were searching, honestly, we were just looking for something that would kind of get us started. We weren't really looking for a forever home, and I came across this beautiful home, but I said, no, it's out of my price range. I'm not even gonna look at it. And so we kept searching, but nothing was coming up. And so we just gave it to God, we gave it time. And then my realtor actually pulled it up and said, hey, have you seen this listing? And I said, I sure have, and it is beautiful, but there's absolutely no way we could do this. And she said, well, it's been sitting for a while, it needs a bit of work, and I know that you want some DIY projects, and so let's just go take a look at it. And so we did, and we walked inside and my heart was aflutter with butterflies. I was so at home already, and you know, it's one of those things where you don't want to get too excited, but it was beyond excitement right after I walked in. And crazy enough, the front door is actually the exact same front door that we had at our home in Canada. And so I was like, is this a little God wink? Like, what is this? But we toured the home, and like I said, we just immediately fell in love with it. And so we worked with the realtor, and we realized that yes, we could bring it down a little bit in price, which was helpful. And so we got the house, and what also made it work was that living with my mom actually went so well, we asked her to move in with us. So she has a whole kind of suite to herself off to the side. And so we made it work for all of us to come here to this home, and we're just loving every minute of it. So let me take you along, and we're going to show you around the house some of the spaces that I have made over, as well as the beautiful character that is here. And today we get to show you how much we love Christmas and all of our Christmas trees and Christmas decor. So this is the entryway. It's the first thing you see, obviously, when you walk into the home. And when I first got here, I kept calling it a foyer because it just felt like you were walking into a hotel or something. It's just so grand and so large that I honestly didn't and kind of still don't know what I'm doing with it. So I was so thankful when Homeworthy said they wanted to do a Christmas tour because I was able to fill it with some beautiful items. The most beautiful item, though, is the original chandelier when you first walk in. It is absolutely stunning. And many people have asked me for a link. And I said, I can't give you one because it was here when we got here, and I'm assuming it's original. And just the crystals are real, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then I just recently found this entryway table, and I had plans to make it over, but I unfortunately ran out of time before you guys got here. So I will be refinishing it. I want to make it like a really beautiful, dark, rich color. And then I just quickly found this rug on Amazon. But like I said, I haven't really touched this room yet, but we just added some pieces to make it feel a little bit cozier. So we brought this piece down from Canada. This was my son's dresser. And if you know anything about an older home, you know that there is not much storage. So we have this little under the cupboard Harry Potter type stairs here, but it doesn't lend itself to too much storage. So we fill this with extra hats and mittens and of course, you know, an occasional junk drawer. And then we also have our beautiful Christmas tree. This Christmas tree is 100% thrifted. It is the tree and all of the ornaments, everything on it, and it is my absolute favorite because I just feel like each ornament has its own special memory from someone else's story, and now I get to bring it into my home, which I just think is so beautiful. And we cannot bypass the beautiful stale railing and baluster. It is just stunning, and I almost wish my stairs were larger so that I could see more of this person's handiwork because it's absolutely beautiful. And we will be painting this someday. I'm just not quite sure. I think I really love the white and the invitingness that it has when you first walk in, but some people tell me I should do color, but I'm not quite sure yet. This piece over here, going back, sorry, is thrifted. This was a silver mirror. It was $25, and with a little bit of spray paint and some rub-and buff, we made it look a little bit more antique. And then I just layered my Christmas wreath on top because I don't want to see myself while I'm eating Christmas chocolate. So that's just there for that. And then making our way over here, we have this beautiful piece I found at an antique store, and it just has the three girls playing music. I have three sisters, and so I thought that that was just a little nod to them. But I just love bringing in antique pieces and thrifted finds. You'll see that all throughout the tour, that is kind of how I make my house a home. And because older homes are kind of wonky, they always have little nooks. And so I love to fill them with art and different pieces. And so this piece right here, actually, this was from a thrift store, and it is from 1887. And that just blows my mind that somebody put this piece into a box and was like, good luck, because that is old. And so I just think that that is so neat. And then just, yeah, some other pieces. This was a thrift store find, and yeah, just really beautiful. And then as I was going through my home and I've been making it over, I realized we have no family photos. And so I made up for it by putting my kids on the wall and saying, look, we do exist. So it's not just art, but yeah, they're cute enough that they can go on the wall for sure. And then this piece here I found at Goodwill, and it was $7. And I'm pretty sure it's at least 100 years old just from the detail on the chair. No one's allowed to sit on it. My toddler has stood on it a couple times, and just thankfully it's held together. They don't make things like they used to, you guys, so I'm very thankful for that. And again, another thrifted find. This was $10. I had plans to refinish it, but I think I like the way that it looks right here for right now. But yeah, so the meaning behind Heart and Home Crew is that I love my home, and I really want you to love your home. And so I hope that I can inspire you to do that through thrifted finds or DIY, and just find the heart of your own home. And the crew is just because I do have 4 crew members who occasionally help me out. So my daughters love to paint. My oldest son, not so much. He doesn't love it as much, but that's okay. But my youngest son is really, really into it. And I'm excited to see what he's gonna be one day because he loves to work with his hands. And if mom's doing it, he's gotta be doing it. So that's where the crew comes from. So you'll see this floor when you first walked in. This was actually my first project. I saw the floors and they were really dark and beat up. And here, for some reason, they were 2 different colors completely. And I said, our old home, we never refinished the floors. And I said, we have to refinish the floors. And by we, I meant me. And so I rented a drum sander. My dad came out a couple days to help me a little bit. And the one thing I'll say is if you ever want to refinish your floors, do it because it'll save you a lot of money, but be ready because the edger is a beast. It's that piece that goes along the edge, and it's just wild. But yeah, we did the floors in 1 week. top to bottom, all of them. And these I don't believe are original because the closet has the same floors as the ones that are actually upstairs in the landing in the bedrooms. This is a little bit smaller and it's all throughout. So I'm not gonna be crazy and rip them up. I'm not gonna be that crazy, but the kitchen does have some, you know, laminate flooring that I'm like, maybe one day we'll see what's under here. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that was a project. And I'm just happy. I went light instead of dark because I have a dog and I have 4 children, and dark, as beautiful as it is, as rich as it would have been, it shows all of the dirt and the dust. And I don't have time to vacuum my floors every day. And so I decided to go lighter in the home. So the biggest challenge of designing and decorating this home when I first saw it was honestly where to start. We recently learned actually that no one had lived in this home since the 80s. There was 2 sisters who had bought the home and just wanted to make sure it stayed how it was. They stored their antiques in it. They had a pretty garden, which does not exist anymore. I'm working on that. But they just used it as a placeholder basically. And so an investor bought it off of them, and thank God, all he did was flip the kitchen and the bathrooms, and he left all of the beautiful moldings. There's so much beadboard throughout that we'll show you, and it just has so much character. And so when I came in, it was where do I start with this? The house gave us some options because we did have some critters we had to take care of. There was the foundation. There was just lots of housework that needed to be done. But ultimately, she had really great bones. And so where I started was the pantry, because when we bought it, there was no laundry. And so we had to take off some doors and some trim and put the laundry in, and we needed pantry space. And so I went ahead and made over the pantry, just making it really cozy and sweet. And so I just had a lot of fun there. And I thought this was successful. People liked it. And I thought, let's go bigger. And so we moved our way into the room behind me. And that's where I just kind of took off, and we've just been going ever since. And then we will work our way into the living room. So leading to the entryway, we have these insane pocket double doors. One of them does slide, the other one is off its hinges. My dream is to refinish them, and that's when I've kind of finished the big makeovers. I figured I would go and do the littler ones. This isn't really little, but everything, all the beadboard you'll see throughout, as I've been painting it, I've seen chip marks of paint underneath, and there is dark, rich mahogany under the doors. So I think it would be beautiful to bring those back, but that is gonna take some time, but I think it's just amazing. And then one day too, I'll do the hardware because we have copper hardware. It's just absolutely incredible, the details that are still here. And you cannot have double door entryway without doing the festive garland. So we had to do that. I was so excited. Last year we moved in October. I did the floors. We moved in November. And so Christmas was still Christmas because we love Christmas. So we put some of it up. But this year I said, I'm doing the garland. So I did the garland and I love it so much. It just feels festive and cozy, and I don't even think it needs the lights or the bows this year. I just wanted it to feel kind of old school. I feel like that's what it is, so vintage. So coming into our living room, this is what would have been the original sitting room, actually. My mom's quarters, which we won't see today, but you can follow me and I'll show you those when I make them over. That is actually the main living room that they transitioned into a bedroom. They added a bathroom. So here's the sitting room where they would have received guests. And this is one of our favorite spots to be. We have beautiful bookshelves. Those were not here. This room was gray and it was white. And the fireplace that was here is obviously original to the home, but it just felt like you couldn't see it, which might sound so odd because it was the only thing in the house, in the room, but I just felt like it needed to be showcased. And so I built these bookshelves all the way to the ceiling. I added in some trim to kind of make it look like it had always been here. And I think I accomplished that because when I tell people that these weren't always here, they're a little bit shocked. And again, they're not perfect, but I learned a lot. And I think that as I'm doing this house too, you'll see like trim and stuff that isn't perfect from 119 years ago. So, you know, you don't always have to know exactly what you're doing. But yeah, this color, I always get asked. This is Waterloo by Sherwin-Williams. It is the most beautiful color. I am normally white paint. Like, I like white paint. It's safe, it's pretty, it's airy. But I wanted to have a little bit more fun in this home and something a little bit more historical. And so I went with this color, which is a chameleon color. Sometimes it's teal, sometimes it's blue. And I really, really love it. And then we obviously have styled them for Christmas with just some pretty finds. Majority of these are thrifted or they are from antique stores, you guys. If not that, it's Home Goods. But we've, got some thrifted crocks and some thrifted frames. Those are my favorite things to thrift, are the ornate gold frames. I just love them so much and just the character that they have. If you can't tell, I love character. So the fireplace, let's talk about that for a second. It is a double mantle, which I learned this the hard way. Do not light candles on a double mantle fireplace because you might burn your house down. So anyways, just take that as a note. But the fireplace has original tile. It is this green tile, which I did not love when I first moved in here, but I just didn't want to harm it because I want to take care of an older home while also knowing that I am the owner of it and I want to enjoy it. But once we put the paint on the walls, it completely just fits the space now. And the fireplace itself was covered in 4 layers of paint. And I did learn that the hard way. So there was a light green, a dark green, a tan, and a black. I think the black was something that was used to protect it. So I went in to clean it all and then noticed that there was a copper, kind of like a face plating on it. Unfortunately, it came off when I cleaned it with ketchup. So just take note of that when you're eating French fries, what ketchup can do. I still love ketchup, so no judgment. But anyways, yeah, so I cleaned it off as best I could. This is all copper because you can tell it's turning green. So this whole thing is copper. And then I just got tired. And so I stopped and so many people said, well, the rust looks really pretty. Just leave it like that because I wasn't sure, do I just go over the surround now? Do I paint it? What do I do? And so many people just said the rust color matches the room. So just leave it. So I did, and I'm okay with it for now. And if I come back to it another day, I will. But it's a beautiful fireplace. This is Rain, you guys. She might come in and out. This is our dog. And yeah, so the other side, also just a couple more items. Just for, for kicks and giggles, we have the Mona Lisa from Home Goods because I thought that she was fun. And swivel chairs are my kids' favorite. You guys, this is a game in our house, is the kids swiveling and mom saying stop. And then our Christmas tree. So normally when you come into a home, I feel like people like to have the grand decorated Christmas tree. But for us, family is everything. Christmas is family. And so we have our tree of all of our favorite things. And every year the kids and I and my husband, we get to pick an ornament. And it's a little bit full and our kids aren't that old. So we may need to maybe get a bigger tree. But yeah, it just has some of our favorite items. And one of our favorite things to do is my mom actually framed us as babies in our Christmas outfits for our first Christmas. And so we did that. We have all of our kids in their first Christmas pictures on the tree. And I just think that that's so sweet and so special. And then again, the lighting is original as far as we know to the home. It's wild. It looks like an octopus and I don't know what it's made out of, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's also wild because this is not my style even 5 years ago. And I'm just so thankful that I can appreciate it because I would have been so sad at myself if I had moved in here and not appreciated it and changed it. So I'm just so thankful. And again, the color of that kind of coppery brass color just suits the room so well. And I just love it. And we just have some more art, a couch, and this room actually gets used so much. I made over the landing upstairs. I'll show you in a minute. And that's kind of more of our family hangout. You just relax and play the puzzle. I was nervous this wasn't going to get used, but in our bookcases here, we have all the kids' books. We love reading. Right now it's filled with all the Christmas books, but our kids are avid readers, and that was something important to me because I love reading. My husband does now too. It only took him about 33 years. It's okay. But so we come in here, we cozy up with a book, we go to the library, and they are in here all the time, and it makes me so happy because I never want a space to go unused. I always want it to be used for something. And yeah, this room is it was one of my first makeovers with color, and I'm so glad I did it because I just love it so much. And then this rug was actually, we had it upstairs. I bought it initially for my son's bedroom, and you'll see that I drew inspiration from it to do the room, but it was too small in the space in the end, and so I decided to bring it down here, and this was a Facebook Marketplace find. It was $100, and it is a heavy rug. It's the real deal. And so that's my tip for you guys, is make sure you're checking out Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores, antique places, estate sales, which I sadly have not gone to an estate sale yet. I need to do that. But you can find some wonderful things from some wonderful people. I've met so many wonderful people. But yeah, we love this, and I really feel like it just completely pulled the room together because I just put this in here 2 weeks ago because the boys' bedroom is fresh, you guys. The paint is still drying for you. And then over here we have this cabinet. This was my brother-in-law's mother's, who's unfortunately she's passed away, but we have a little piece of her because she was a wonderful woman. And I just have some of my favorite thrifted finds. Again, majority of my stuff is from thrift stores. So, $2, $1. But it still just means so much to me, and I love it so much. But also because it's thrifted, I'm a little bit more okay with having it out where my son might be able to get it because you know, I didn't pay an arm and a leg for it. And then in here we just have our wedding photo. My husband and I, we actually got married. I was, I think, 22 and he was 21, and he's just my best friend and I love him so much, and he's a cutie. So give him a close up. But yeah, it was just, that was one of my favorite days, is our wedding day. So Heart and Home Crew is my social channel where I love to share my love of DIY, making over spaces, and thrifted finds to completely make your house a home. So Heart and Home Crew actually started about 14 years ago when I was looking how to do my makeup for my wedding. And I started out with a makeup channel, and it was a lot of fun. But behind the scenes, I was always doing my little DIYs. I was making over spaces in my home. And then I stopped because I had children, as we do. And then when we decided to move here from Canada, I realized I really wanted to share again. And so just before we moved, I started up Heart and Home Crew, because the meaning behind it for me is that I really want to help you love your home, and I do it with a little bit of help from my crew. I have 4 kids, and if you follow me on any of my socials, you'll have seen some of them, but mainly my toddler Harvey. He is almost 3 and he loves a hammer and a paintbrush, and so he loves to help me. But yeah, so I want to show people that you can do it. A lot of people say, how did you start? Where did you learn this? My dad, we would always watch HGTV growing up. This Old House, Bob Vila was the OGs, the originals. And I just loved what they were doing. And we had so much fun in my room making over spaces. He would let me paint all the time. He would change out my carpet, and I just had so much fun. And so I want to share that with others. And the first thing that I ever built was a chicken coop, because we bought a chicken coop off Amazon and it was too small. And I thought, these 4 chickens, they need a bigger home. And so I got some plants off Etsy, and I had never picked up a power tool before, and I did it. And so that's what I mean, is I think some people get so overwhelmed with the idea of it. But even when I built these bookshelves behind me, I just realized that everything has a step-by-step process. You just have to be able to follow it and not afraid to try. And even if you fail, most of the times you're just learning something, and the more you do it, the better that you get. I'm just trying to share that with mainly women is my audience, but whoever that, you know, start out with painting the wall. My sister, God bless her, I learned recently she didn't know how to paint a wall. And so we painted the wall, and that's where you can start. And then maybe you do a nail gun next, maybe you do a saw next. And, you know, it's just been so much fun for me. And then we'll head this way to the dining room. So this dining room is bigger than anything I ever imagined. And my mom, God bless her, and my dad, we lived down the road 20 minutes from where we are now. And the dining room that they had fit this table. Let's just say that. They had 7 children and it fit this table. And so when we came to this home, it just felt like God saying, enjoy your next meal, because we'd been so cramped for over 20 years. You know, you make do, it was what it was, but to now be able to host everyone in this dining room is just a dream come true, especially since my mom is now living with us, that she gets to come and enjoy the meal around the grand table. So this is the dining room, the formal and the regular, if you will, because we eat in here every single day. 4 children, 2 adults, my mom, a dog occasionally. And so we gather around here. And again, another original light fixture, as far as I know. I would actually like to find a larger one. I think it's a little bit too small for the space. It's also off center, which is something funny about the home. I feel like none of the light fixtures are where they're supposed to quite be, but that's okay. It's still beautiful. But yeah, I'd like to get one a little bigger and a little lower. And then I would probably just repurpose this either in another bathroom or somewhere, still keep it in the home, of course. And then this is the hutch of my dreams. So this, I love France. I love French things, and it's kind of my inspiration for this room. I chose a beautiful Puritan gray blue for the trim. And then for the wallpaper, we did, this is Belle Fleur from Milton & King, and it's just absolutely stunning. Sometimes on my camera, it appears a little bit purple, but here it's in person, it's a little bit more blue and blue. So we'll see how that shows up. But this hutch I found on Facebook Marketplace, and I had been looking forever. I've been looking since we moved into my mom's home. I just wanted to find a really beautiful hutch. And this one popped up, and it said it had been there for weeks. And I'm like, I've been searching every day. I don't know if you've been there for weeks, but they had it listed, I think for $500, originally had it for $1,000. And I was like, I can't do that. So I said, hey, you've had this for a while. We'd be willing to let it go for $3. And they said, yes. So yay. So we went, we met them. Wonderful guy named Bruce, him and his wife. This was her mom's hutch. And they had, her dad had been he sold furniture back in the day. And so this was their family piece. And I said, I promise I will love it and I will treasure it and I will take care of it. And I just think it's absolutely stunning. And just more storage is what we always need. So we have our linens in here. I've got a lamp that I'm gonna put in a bathroom later, just all the storage, and then just little trinkets of what I love for life. I like to display things, of course, that I like, but also things I'm gonna use. So I love brass candlesticks. You'll see those everywhere. I love them, all thrifted. And then, a cake stand we're gonna use for birthdays, a bowl we're gonna use for popcorn, and maybe I'll read one of those books. I might not read one of those books. I got those for the color. But yeah, and then we just decorate it with a little bit of some garland and some twinkle lights. But I think this is an absolutely stunning piece, and I'm so thankful to own it. And then the table is my mom's. I don't love the finish of it. It is oak. It has a lot of wood grain. It's just not my cup of tea. And so for right now, we have a tablecloth. But the chairs, I thrifted these. I found these on Facebook Marketplace as well. They were selling a table and chairs, but the table was too small for the space. And so I said, okay, well, just give it all to me. I think it was $175. I resold the table for $100. So the chairs were $75. I refinished them to make them darker, as well as changed out the fabric to something just a little bit more French, a little bit of a cocoa color. And then we have it set obviously for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, but for us, it will be extended twice the size because I have a large family. And yeah, just made it look really pretty. And then over here, we have some more thrifted art and some frames. And the one thing about today's world is that we have to have technology. And my husband insisted on a security system. And unfortunately, because an older home and wiring and all that stuff, this is the only place we could put it, smack dab in the middle of my dining room wall. And so I was like, well, what can I do to kind of hide it a little bit? So when I redid the whole room, called an electrician, tried to get it moved, and we couldn't. So I actually just took an old mirror, took the mirror out, cut the frame down, and now I don't notice it as much, and I'm so happy. And there's a way to change the picture, but I haven't figured it out yet. So when I do, it'll be an antique picture to match. And then these were thrifted as well, Walmart print. And you guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I thrift and I use cheap ways to make my home beautiful. And I don't know if I should say cheap, but it's true because I do it on the budget. And I think that that's just hopefully an inspiration to you, is that you can do beautiful things with not a lot of money. And I think I've made that happen. And then the rug is nothing truly special, but we just got this thrifted as well. I found it on Marketplace for I think $50. And it may be a placeholder, and I think that's okay too, is that to buy things and not to be a throwaway society, but if I find something more beautiful later and I have the budget for it, that I can trade it out, and then I can either gift this to someone else or just resell it again for cheap that somebody else can use for their placeholder or for their rug if that's what they want. So now this fireplace, there are several fireplaces in the home. This is obviously how they would have heated it. This fireplace had green tile. Don't get mad at me if you go and find the original photos, but it was not my style at all. And I could have made the room go off of the color. I could have done green, absolutely, but it's just not who I am. When I see a space, it just comes to life in my head. And so the entryway hasn't done that for me yet. I'm still waiting. But when I saw this room, I just knew. I was like, I want blue and I want French and I want wallpaper. There was actually, I should have mentioned that, there was a green and white like 70s wallpaper in here before. Not my style. Happily took that down and put wallpaper right back up. But the tile, I couldn't make it work. And so this is actually peel and stick tile, which some people were like, why would you put plastic on such a beautiful fireplace? I understand that. The only thing is it was the best solution for me because I didn't want to harm the original tile. This does not have a super sticky backing, so it can come right off for the next owner. If they want to unearth it and they want to let that green tile shine, I say go ahead. But for me, it just wasn't me. So this was the best option. I didn't want to paint it. I didn't want to take it out. It is from the home. So I thought that was just the best of all the options. And then we have our nativity scene here. This is just our favorite. And a fun trick, you actually can take a willow, like one of the ladies who's pregnant, and leave her up there till Christmas, and then the kids can swap out Jesus on Christmas Day if you want. So I saw that on the internet. There's lots of fun things on the internet and lots of tips and tricks. And then this is the garland. This garland's probably honestly my least favorite in the home. My husband said you bought too much garland this year, so I had to cut back. So I used what I had and we made it work, but put a bow on it, put lights on it, and I think it works. And apparently bows are in this season for Christmas. I did not know that, but I put bows all over my tree and it works because it just feels French and it feels feminine and delicate. And yeah, this tree is from King of Christmas. It is the most beautiful tree I have ever used in my life. And it was gifted to me as a collab, but I can say that I now want to switch all my trees to this tree because it's just so pretty. And we have the bow topper that's from Target this year, and then all of the ornaments to fill it out. And it fits the space so beautifully. Again, we have another nook here with all of the pretty little art, all thrifted. You guys, it's my life. Like I thrift everything and I make it work for my home. And then this piece was Facebook Marketplace. It was kind of more of like a rough French cottage look, which isn't mine. I like the little bit more of the sophisticated French style. So I just sanded it down, all the rough pieces, and then just put a coat of paint on it that was a little bit more neutral, but I left the top. I really liked the dark wood, and it just holds all of the kids' coloring and everything that they can use to, you know, play and Play-Doh and everything like that. And then she was a fun find. I found her online, and I just think she's fun. She had red, but I put gold on her to make her a little bit, you know, a little bit more of my theme, and then some Christmas trees. But yeah, I really hope that you can feel that French essence, but it's not over the top. You know what I mean? I have a couple Eiffel Towers, but it's not like fleur-de-lis are hanging from my ceiling. And then the windows, I should have mentioned that in the entryway, but the windows in this home are what sold me. I love bright, I love airy. Give me outside, but inside please, because I'm an introvert. And so the windows are just my absolute favorite. They are all so tall. None of them work. I think we have 3 windows that actually open. And so I need to get some more plants to kind of clear the air in here, but they are just so beautiful. It is on my to-do list is to refinish the windows because I do want to be able to use them. We live in North Carolina, so it can get hot and we like a little breeze every now and then, but I kind of did it backwards where I did full room makeovers where I feel like you see people move into a home and they start with that kind of stuff because it's important, but I just got excited with my paintbrush and I just kind of went to town. So this wallpaper was so beautiful when I worked with the company, and I just love the background, the blue, again, that French, as well as the florals are just so pretty. And I say to myself, I'm like, I don't think it's too feminine, but then I look and I'm like, okay, maybe it is. It's very, but I don't feel like it's girly. Do you know what I mean? My husband, he completely said yes to this because I said, is this too much for you? And he said, no, like do, and that's the great thing. My husband is so kind. He lets me do what I want, which is so cool. And yeah, I really, really love it. And this is a paste wallpaper. I used a peel and stick in the bathroom. Highly recommend paste. Yes, it is a pain to take off, as I learned having to take the wallpaper off before it, but it's just really easy for a beginner because all you have to do is put the glue on the wall. You have more time to kind of move your paper around, whereas a peel and stick, if it sticks to itself, it's a nightmare, and I'm speaking from experience. So yeah, this was a really easy installation. It took me a day after taking all the wallpaper down, and then I took the glue down and then I primed. It took about a day to get it up because I was like, we're doing this. So I love how much it adds to the room, and I love that wallpaper is coming back because it just gives you so many more options for design. So now we're gonna head into the kitchen and we're gonna take my favorite door, which was a swinging door, but it broke off because the hardware broke, and so it's just a door right now. But this was the second thing that sold me on this home, the front door and the swinging door, because my parents had actually taken a tour of a home when I was young, and I remember the swinging kitchen door. As a kid, you just run in and out of the door. It's the funnest thing ever. And I said, when I have a home one day, I would love to have a swinging door. And when we walked in and there was a swinging door, again, I was like, God, is this you? Is this where we're supposed to be? So we need to fix it, but I do love this door so much. I think it's just the coolest. So my best piece of DIY advice is go to YouTube and go to blog posts, because so many people before you have done it and they have figured out the hard way how to do it, and they're now sharing the easy way. So I don't think you need to have to know everything in a day, but definitely look to people who've done it before, and that's just the easiest thing I can tell you. And then for thrifting finds, I say go often. I know that sounds bad, but the more you go, the more you're gonna see. And I tend to have a route where I will stop off. I've got like 3 on one road. And so I know that day, okay, today's thrifting day, we're gonna pop in. I've got my 2 kids with me, so you guys can do this, okay? And sometimes I have 4, but just go in and take a look around. Some days you're gonna find some stuff, some days you're not. So that's why it's better to go more often. So let's go in. All right, so this is our kitchen. And when we first moved in, there was just cabinets and they were gray. There was no beadboard that I'll show you. There was no open shelving. We added in this cabinet here. And even before we had bought it, apparently a year or 2 prior, they tried to sell this home with no kitchen. They'd ripped everything out and they said, good luck. No kitchen, no laundry. I think those are kind of essential, especially for a mom. And so thankfully they had just kind of stuck some gray cabinets in, but gray was my old home, like I told you guys, and I wanted to have more fun with some more neutral colors. And so we did what's called the 1 room challenge. It's a really fun challenge on Instagram where creators get 8 weeks to make over a space. And so I said, I'm gonna paint those kitchen cabinets. So we painted them, it was me. I painted them in Natural Cream by Benjamin Moore. And I just think it's just a really soft, lovely color. Again, I'm glad that I'm having fun with color outside of the space in the dining room and in the front living room. But for those common areas, I think I just need the white to kind of breathe. The kitchen can be chaos. You know, we've got those kids that love to help. Harvey's my little helper, and it just calms me. The white just calms me. And so I really love it. It's a breath of fresh air. And then it lets me have more fun at Christmas time where I can add in my pops of red. I love gingerbread, the classic gingerbread, the brown and the white. And so that's kind of my theme in this kitchen. And we've added that with little houses all throughout up here as well. And what I would really love to do is I want to take these cabinets to the ceiling. Again, older home, not much storage. And so one day I'll take these to the ceiling, but that's a project for another day. But we painted them. We added the beautiful hardware just from Amazon. Really pretty, really affordable. And then I added in a beadboard backsplash just because the beadboard is everywhere in this house and I needed it to kind of carry throughout. But the kitchen too, I feel like I made it more of cozy. The house is so elevated that I just wanted an area that just felt, you know, a little bit more down to earth. And I feel like I kind of did that here. You guys can let me know. But the open shelving, I love. We had it at our older home and some people are afraid of it because of dust, and that's fair. But I like to just put pieces that we're going to use every day. And so then that way the stuff that I do need to wash more, like, you know, one little decorative item, then it's not that much. But I chose neutral plates, all thrifted. We do have some for Christmas. We got these from Walmart a couple years ago, but these were from my grandmother, just some pretty holly cups. I love, again, the gingerbread. And then the art my mom had at her house. And so I just wanted to bring a piece of her because she was always in the kitchen at home, always cooking, always making cookies, always making dinner, just always snacks. I'm like, I have 4 kids and I can't keep up. Like, how did you keep up with 7? So this pretty piece of the art with the woman gathering her eggs and just looking outside wondering, is this my life? And I'm just kidding. I love my life and she loved hers. But anyways, so yeah. So, and I love the white pictures. I just think that those are so pretty, the ironstone. And yeah, I find keeping it neutral so you can have fun at the holidays is the best way to do it. And just making sure you're using stuff that you're using every day. And then, like I said, you don't have to it does need to be dirty. And then the dishwasher was very dark and it just felt like it stood out so much when I had this pretty cream and the white going on. And so I decided just to try this little skirt ruffle. And it's just a magnetic rod and I sewed a curtain on it and it hides it. And it works for me. Some people are nervous. They're like, oh my gosh, doesn't it get dirty? And I washed it once. And that was only because my son got the corner of it. It doesn't get dirty, I promise. I don't know how it happens. It's a miracle, but it doesn't. And then, yeah, just over here, I love this is for when we have family over and we can do like a buffet style dinner. Then we can just put everything over here. There's a nice flow. I wish I could show you guys my old home because this is just night and day difference. It's so wonderful to be able to have everyone here and just really enjoy our time together. And then there used to be shutters on the windows. I did take those down. There was actually shutters in the dining room too. And some people were upset with me, but honestly, they were really old and they had so much paint on them that they were really hard to clean. And I just, again, I need that light and airy feeling. And so I just did some simple little cafe curtains, just got some cotton fabric from Joann's. And then the rods are from Amazon, just custom cut them down and put them up there. And I just, again, it just feels like a breath of fresh air. I just love it. And then wherever I can put the garland, wherever I can put the gold frames, I will. Added a cute little peg hook here, again, to give it kind of that more cottagey, cozy feel. And I really love it. And then obviously the gingerbread men, they're my absolute favorite. And then this flooring was here when we got here, but this is what I was talking about when I said, I know that there's original flooring under here because we have a little closet over there. I can't show you, it's my work closet. It doesn't look anything like what you're looking at right now. And I can see some of the original floor poking through. So I thought about maybe ripping it up. Don't tell my husband, but that's maybe next year. And then this piece I found at a restore. So that's like a Habitat for Humanity. And I've seen people put like really beautiful like French old tables and that would be so cool. But I did need, again, some more storage. I'm making it sound like I have a lot of stuff and I'm a hoarder, but you fill up a kitchen, you know what I mean? And so we just have some more utensils in here, some Dutch ovens, some more pots and pans, and it actually opens up. It would have been used as like a bar probably in a dining room at some point. And yeah, it's just, the kids love it. They think that it's so much fun and it just gives us that extra little bit of room because my mom will sometimes be cooking in here with us. And so everybody's got a countertop. And then of course you got to have some Christmas cookies at Christmas time, our favorite. And then over here we have a cool little dining nook. So we actually had a woman, her name is Barbara, and she would walk down the street and she said, I used to live in this home when I was little. She was in the room where my girls are now. And so her sister was with her one day and we said, come on in, like, because she's probably in her 70s, early 80s. And we said, come in and like look and see what we've done and tell us what you can about the home. And so she said in this room, apparently the wall used to go all the way across, which makes sense because this is completely added on when I was putting the drywall in when I was fixing it all for the laundry. The walls are drywall, which our walls are lath and plaster. That's the old, the wood slats and all the plaster on top. So this table is our little nook. Again, we love eating at the dining room table. I specifically kept this small because I didn't want it to become where we would eat and then we didn't eat in the dining room. So we'll have our snack here, or me and the 2 kids who stay home during the school week, this is where we'll eat. Sometimes we do crafts here, sometimes we play here. And then this chandelier I did get off Amazon. I was just trying to find something that kind of fit the home a little bit, but within budget. And I made over this table. This is more like the oak that my mom's table has. So I tried to lighten as best as I could, but it still has so much of the wood grain, which it's just not my favorite. So, but I still think it's cute. And the chairs too, those were a marketplace find. And then this little unit over here, we didn't have a spot to put our garbage because the counters were so low for our garbage to go under. And it was just out in the open, and I don't want to look at a garbage can, you guys. I like making the practical pretty. And so I made this little kind of unit with just a shelf, and then I did some conduit piping, and then it hides our garbage and our recycling. And I got to buy some pretty fabric and make a little curtain. And again, people are like, doesn't that get so gross? But all I do during the day is I'll just open it up during mealtime, and I can close it when guests come over. Nobody has to know it's here. You guys all know now. And then just, again, some more thrifted art. This was off of Etsy, digital downloads. If you guys need some art, that's the best way to do it. You can get them so cheap, and you can just print them off at your local CVS, Walmart, all that stuff, and you can just make your home so pretty, and I love it. And then, like I said, we added the beadboard in here to carry throughout the home. This one I did a little bit higher than what is in the actual home itself because I wanted it to kind of make it look like it was coming off of the backsplash and continuing around. So we did that, and then I just have some of my, favorite things and a calendar to remind us what's going on in life. But yeah, it's just cozy. It's what I wanted this kitchen to be. So then these plates on the wall, again, I love that blue and white. I just think it's so classic and so pretty. And I've seen people putting plates up, and I thought this wall just needed something, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I just started collecting plates. Again, thrift stores, antique stores. Most of them were $1, $2. I think my most was $5. And I just think it's so fun to be able to kind of find them wherever you go. And you can almost make it like a souvenir where, I went here and I found this plate there, and just have that memory with you. But I just love beautiful things, and I just like to display them in a way where people can also enjoy them. And so yeah, we just have this plate wall. It may grow, it may not. I'm not quite sure yet if I'm done, but if I wanted to, I could carry it through and we'll see. But yeah, just really unique. And my daughter, she found one and it has little horses on it. So that's why there's a horse one up there, because she wanted to contribute. But I just love the florals and yeah, just the history behind the plates. So we live in Monroe, which is a historic town, and that is because it was founded in 1843 and it was a port city. It's actually named after the 5th president, James Monroe. And we specifically actually live, like I said, in a historic district, so we can't do too much to the outside of our house without getting permission. It took us about 6 months to put a fence up, but we appreciate that because it just means that people care about the beauty of old times, of, they're not making homes like this anymore, unfortunately. And that's my favorite thing, is I just love the character of this home. And who doesn't? I think that's part of the reason this channel exists, is that we're able to see some of these beautiful homes. But we just recently moved here. We actually only moved here a year ago, so we're still getting to know the city a little bit. It is a little bit widespread, but we live just on the outskirts of the city, and it's kind of up and coming right now, which is really lovely to see. A lot more families moving back to the neighborhood and taking care of these older homes like us. All right, that wraps up the first floor, so let's go ahead and I'll show you the upstairs. All right, and then as we work our way upstairs, I do just want to introduce you to Rain. So she's actually been so good. I was nervous she was going to be so excited, but we have this home, and I tried to do some landscaping outside. You're not going to see it because I prayed for rain all summer. And I was every day, Lord, we need rain. We need rain. I need these plants to flourish. They got eaten by slugs and bugs. They don't exist. But God gave me Rain in a different way. And so this is Rain. She is a foster, and our neighbors, with all of the storms that we've had throughout the summer and early fall, there were a lot of animals displaced. And so she had 5 puppies, and they said, can you help us in any way? And we said, well, we'll take the mom because we know the puppies are going to go. So this is Rain. She is a sweetheart. She is so sweet. She just wants love all day long. If I stayed like this for the rest of the day, she would be a happy, happy girl, but we got to carry on. But yeah, she's a sweetheart, and they think she's a lab retriever, possibly German Shepherd mix. So as sweet as she is, she also has a lot of energy. So she likes her daily walks, and we're learning together, but she's really sweet. So All right, let's go ahead and head upstairs. So like I said, it's the small stairs. I wish they were bigger because they're just so pretty. We have another beautiful window. Just the details, you guys. Like if I were to build a home today, I know it obviously costs money, but I would sell everything I had just to have these windows again because they're so pretty. And what's interesting about this home, we learned, is that it actually was a duplex at some point, which is why we have this odd landing space. There was a door here that had a deadbolt, and so my son locked himself behind it and we couldn't get him out, so we had to break the door down. And so we took the door down, and because I have this overhead and it breaks, I thought, well, let me just use it. So all of my frames, again, baskets and frames, they're me. I went ahead and made a little gallery wall, and it's just fun to just, go by and see. We have beautiful mirror, and we have the beautiful art, and just different pieces that mean different things to me. If you know and you are local to the Niagara region in Canada, this is from Trisha Romance. And so she is a really well-known artist in the Niagara region, and she has really cute pieces, and it just reminds me of home. And then my sister is an artist, so she drew a couple pieces. We have a couple of my favorite photographs, and I don't know, I love passing it every day, and it just makes me smile. And then above me, you'll see here, we made use of the landing, especially at Christmas. You have to put a tree there. What else am I supposed to put there? I actually don't have anything there throughout the year because I don't want my son to be too intrigued, but I figured a Christmas tree fills the space enough. And so this was the tree that I kind of got to have my little fun with, of just making it neutral and really pretty. Again, the tree is thrifted. All of the ornaments are thrifted. Don't sleep on the thrift store, you guys. There's so much good finds there. And then I put some presents there. This caused quite a stir though, because I posted this on Halloween saying, today we're putting up our Christmas tree. And so many people were so upset with me, and they said, what are you doing? And also, what about Thanksgiving? But you guys, Thanksgiving tastes just as good with a Christmas tree while you're eating turkey. It probably tastes better, honestly. It's more cozy. But yeah, so we have this tree up here, and if you want to see me putting that together, you can check it out on Instagram, of climbing over the railing and risking my life for Christmas. But you guys, it's worth it because we love Christmas. But yeah, really beautiful, just the neutral ornaments of the browns and the golds and the browns. It's just green. I love it so much, and it just fills the space. And then up the stairs, we have the garland. Again, I told you I went over budget on garland this year, but the home just needs it. All those little areas, it just makes it feel so much more cozy and so much more Christmassy in such small and simple ways, and I just love it so much. So let's go ahead and head upstairs now, and I'll show you one of my favorite pictures. I got this from the thrift store. I think, do I even need to say anymore that it's from the thrift store? But it was just such a large piece, and again, I feel like the rooms just speak to me, and you guys are gonna see this landing in a second. And I just felt this piece needed to be in this room. And I just love the earthiness of it and the greenery and, the mom and her babes. And I just think it's so sweet. And the one up there too as well is paired. And you're probably seeing the window as well. This landing is my favorite, you guys. It's what gave me those butterflies when we first moved into this home. Stunning, stunning windows, light and life. And it's everything that I am and want to be. It's just a breath of fresh air. And just, yeah, unfortunately, the painters, you might not be able to see it on camera, but the painters who painted the outside were a little sloppy. So maybe one day can hopefully get someone to help me and we can chip some paint away. But the windows themselves are absolutely stunning and gorgeous, and I love them. And I told you guys I was nervous about doing this room because when we first moved in, it was just a walkway. We didn't have anything really here. We had old furniture that we weren't really using. And then when the makeover was done downstairs, I was like, okay, well, let's go to the next one. Always on to the next room. It's so much fun for me. And so for the landing makeover, I really just wanted to make sure it was a place that we still used. And downstairs, we had the TV tucked behind the couch. We'd pull it out. And I said, well, the kids are really just reading down here, so let's make this the TV room. And so what I did was I had a vision of a buffet, and my husband, God bless him, he loves me so much, and this is proof. I found this buffet in Canada when we were there for Christmas one year. We normally take one car, and I found it and I bought it, and he let me do it. So he's partly to blame, but I just realized that this would look so good with a buffet and with a TV above it. And so we took 2 cars on our next trip to Canada just to bring the furniture home. I may have stuck a couple extra pieces because we had an extra car, why not? But again, the woman was so lovely when she sold this to me. I think I got this for $150. Again, and furniture is not made the same way. When we were just starting out, it was IKEA. You get pushed IKEA for college. Buy IKEA furniture for some reason. Maybe it's just really good marketing. And then they did the recall of the dressers, and so we got our money back, and I was more into thrifting. I've always loved thrifting, but I thought, why don't I go to the thrift store and see what I can find? And I found a beautiful, solid French dresser, and it was $75. And I said, I just got $300 back for plywood and not even plywood, a particle board. And this is solid wood and it has character. And so ever since then, I am just a whole advocate. Go to the thrift store, try and, rebuy on Facebook Marketplace, give it you're saving it from the landfill and you're getting better furniture for an amazing price. So just keep looking though. Sometimes it can take a while, but yeah, we love this piece. So it houses our board games and it houses our movies and all those little tidbits that we need, the remote and that kind of stuff. And then this TV is not a frame TV. Again, budget people. So this was probably maybe $25 to make. I just hung up my TV and then I did the frame with some of my favorite gold spray paint and gallery wall. You guys know I love a gallery wall. So I just filled my frames, all of my pretty art. And I love it so much. And I probably need an extra picture or two of my children, but we'll add those in over time. But yeah, and then just little pieces to make it feel a little bit more homey and cozy. And then we added this beautiful rug. This is vintage from Revival. They're a really amazing company I've been able to work with, where not only do they make beautiful rugs that are washable and new, but they actually also source vintage rugs. And so this is wonderful because it's a landing, it's a little bit more of an awkward size. I was able to find one that fit the width and the length. And so I appreciated that. I appreciate that detail. And of course we have the fun couch where, you can just crash, you can read a book, you can watch your movie, and there's room for everybody. These actually kind of shift so we can make them longer or shorter if we need to, but everybody's got a space at the couch. And one of my biggest comments too is, oh my gosh, aren't you nervous for your kids because of the railing? That is a almost daily discussion, and they know you are not allowed to stand on the railing, so no worries about the safety there. We've had the talk many, many times, and you can see the Christmas tree from behind and the twinkly lights at night. It's my favorite. I love this room so, so much. This window was so pretty on its own that I honestly didn't think it needed curtains. It had one of those boxes at the top. I don't know what you call them, but it was probably like to hide curtains initially. And then I just thought, I'll just take it down. I don't need anything. But it almost felt to me like a canvas. You have a beautiful piece of art, but when you add in that frame, it just makes it even more beautiful. So we have these beautiful curtains, and yeah, I feel like it frames it and really gives it that grand, just beautiful, beautiful boom. I don't know, I love it so much. And then the lighting too is really cool. There's a Cupid's, I guess, on the light here, really heavy solid brass, and the little bow. And this one, I don't know if that's original because I looked it up and it looks like it's more of like a 1950s piece. So I'm not quite sure. Again, I get questions all the time. I have no idea where they're from. They're old. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, the landing we love, and it's just one of our favorite spots. So let's head to the girls' room. So I showed you guys downstairs, we have to have modern amenities in a home, but I don't love them. I mean, I love this. I do love air conditioning. So I decided to hide my thermostat because, again, off center, which wasn't the original person. I can't blame them, but it's also, I just don't want to look at this. And so you want to be careful because you don't want to restrict airflow because obviously this is reading the temperature of your home. But I got a basket that just has a ton of holes in it and put it over top. So that way I can kind of make it a little bit more center and then it hides and I don't have to see that. And then I found these cute little cuties for $5 each at a thrift store. And he reminds me of my youngest son. And she reminds me of my youngest daughter. So I thought that was so sweet. And then again, a little nook moment and we can just hide our thermostat. And yeah, it's wonderful. Although the thing about an older home is I can put it at a temperature. It's not necessarily going to get to that temperature because the ceilings are 10 foot, which I love and I appreciate, but it just means, spaghetti straps in the summer and really heavy blankets in the winter. So yeah, but we can go ahead and move our way into the girls' room now. So Christmas to me just means family. Honestly, you're going to see this home, or maybe you've seen it already, and it is just filled with Christmas, filled with decorations. And to me, it's just the memories that you make. It's the memories you make around the Christmas tree, sipping your hot cocoa, watching your favorite Christmas movies, opening those presents on Christmas morning, the meal that extended family comes. It's just the coziest season, and that's why my husband and I, we celebrate it for such a long time. We celebrate all November, all December, because we just want to make the most of it, and we just really want to ingrain these memories in our kids, and so that way when they grow up, they'll want to come home, and it's just such a beautiful time of year. This is the girls' room, and I had made over, I think, the pantry and the landing, and no, I hadn't done the landing yet. I can't remember. But anyways, the girls were begging me, Mom, please make over my room. We want to do our room makeover. And this room was gray. Again, all of the house was just gray and white before we moved in. And so we went online to Pinterest because they said they wanted black and orange. And I said, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. So the girls, they initially wanted black and orange because they were really into Kung Fu Panda at the time. And knowing children, they tend to change what they like very quickly. And so I said, well, let's choose something different. So we helped them out by going onto Pinterest, and I just showed them, here's some inspiration. What do you like? What do you not like? And I knew I wanted to do a wall feature in here, but I wanted to break up the beadboard. So I showed them the wall molding, and we chose that. And then I was able to work with this company, Sandberg Wallpaper, for the wallpaper. It is the most dainty, beautiful wallpaper, but I also feel like it is something that they can grow into for a couple years. It doesn't feel too childish to me. And so then they chose the colors of the pink and the green, and we just carried that out throughout the entire room. And I just think it's the sweetest and it's the coziest. And you're gonna hear me say, I love it so much. But the beds were found on Facebook Marketplace. They are the Jenny Lynn style antique bed. And I had been searching, again, forever. I'm always on there looking for furniture. And they were always one by itself. And I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and do this. But it was $300, $400, $500, sometimes $1,000 for one of these beds. Again, budget. I'm like, I just can't do this. And by the grace of God, this woman posted 2 of these beds for $500. And again, I was like, oh, that's a bit much, but this will be their bed for a long, long time. And so I messaged her back and forth. I tried to go a little bit lower. She's like, I just can't. She's like, these are my mother's beds. And this woman was elderly herself. And so I went to go pick them up, and her mother had recently passed, and she was selling all of her items. And she just said, she had the sweetest heart. And she just said, I just care for these so much. And my mom, and she was just such an amazing woman. And these were her beds when she was a kid. And I said, I promise you, they're going to 2 of the sweetest girls, and they will love them, and they will have many night chats in them. And, we'll take really good care of them. And so she was just really happy that we were able to, take them and just love them. I love them so much. And so many people said paint them. And I did have an era where I painted furniture, so don't come at me. But I'm in my era of loving warm woods right now. And so I left them the way that they were, and I love them. And then the bedding was just on Amazon, just the pretty little florals, and then, some soft pink for winter so they can be warmer at night. And then I had a tiny side table in here, but not enough holding space, and it was way too small scale wise. That's the thing with these older homes, is the ceilings are 10 foot. And so you have to make sure that everything kind of fits to scale. And so I found this at a thrift store for $50, and it was plasticky. So I was okay with painting it. It just was a weird finish. So we painted it this green, but the hardware was like pretty. So I was able to take the white paint off, bring it back to its really pretty brass color. And then we just, decorated it for Christmas. We pulled completely in the pink. I was like, we've done the red and green classic downstairs. For Christmas for the girls, like, we're going all out. So we did the pink, and the tree is one of my favorites for Christmas time because I was able to have fun. They were able to have fun with the teacups and with the macarons and gingerbread and dolls. And it's one of my favorites. I think I said that every tree, but it's one of my favorites to pull out because we just have so much fun thrifting and finding these ornaments at, Michael's or wherever we can go to find like the little felted ornaments. I just think it's so fun. And then we did the flock tree in here as well, just to kind of make it that cozier Christmas snow feeling with the pretty pink of the tree skirt. Okay, so then this piece I actually got while we were staying with my mom. God bless her. I kept buying furniture while we were there. And this was off Facebook Marketplace, and the people who originally bought it said that they got it in Texas, and then they got it shipped to them in the Carolinas, and then they just didn't have space for it anymore. And it's just so pretty. It needs a refinishing job for sure. It's been loved on by these girls daily, but I just love the little ornate pieces, and the old hardware is it's really beautiful, and the little feet even. Just, again, furniture like this, they don't make it, and I love it so much. I love all the details. So I actually would really love to see this down to the wood, like a really light wood I think would be pretty in here. The white, of course, works. I love it, but one day. It's on my to-do list. I've got a long, long list, just not quite yet. And then there is a fireplace in this bedroom, but it was boarded up when we got here, and it needs a little bit of a paint job, but I just put some of the wallpaper there because it was just a really weird textured concrete. It didn't make sense. And then I used those peel and stick tiles again. This is where I first used them, and because it was concrete, it looked weird. So when I'm ready, I'll learn how to use tiles. That's my next, it's on my DIY wish list of how to do that. And I know it's not hard, and I can go to YouTube, but I wasn't ready yet. But there is still some of the original tile, and I did leave that there. This matches the living room downstairs. But this mantle is different. It's not a double mantle, so I can light a candle here, and I don't have to worry. And then it has the mirror as well. And yeah, it's perfect for Christmas. You can display everything you need to display. We do have some family photos in here of me and the girls, and just had some fun with the garland. This is some thrifted little crystals, and then Hobby Lobby. I just added some bows because, again, if you're a girl, you gotta have some bows. I love it. And yeah, just had a little bit more fun. And then the last detail in here was the ceiling, actually. The girls had some water damage from the chimney around it. We had to get it repaired. So I cut out the drywall, made sure there was no mold, and then these ceiling tiles, because tin ceiling tiles are something that would have been in a home kind of this era. And so they actually make styrofoam ones, which makes it so much easier when you're doing that DIY. When I went up and down the ladder 100 times of having to position them and all that, really lightweight and just really easy to install. So if you're looking for a simple DIY project and you're okay with maybe getting a neck massage after, then that's one I would say to try, because it just adds such unique detail that you may overlook, but is really subtle and really beautiful. So that's the girls' room, and now let's head to the boys' room. So as we make our way there, this piece is actually kind of what got me started on Facebook. So this is an old chifforobe, I have since learned, and it has the most beautiful character. It was falling apart when I found it. It smelled like cigarette smoke. It was really gross. Cigarette smoke and perfume, like someone had tried to cover it up, and all of the old stain was falling off. And so I completely sanded it down. It took half of my life away, but it was well worth it. And then I did this really beautiful stain combination of a whitewash, and then I did antique oak over top of it from General Finishes. And I just really love the way that it turned out. And so many people did as well. A lot of people, this is where I learned about the restoration world, though, on the internet. I hadn't quite found them before. A lot of people said, why would you do that to that piece? Like, you know, and literally the stain was falling off because this is 100 years old. And so, yeah, for me, I just think, well, I'm giving it new life. So I think that counts for something, but it's just a really beautiful piece. And again, I had this at my mom's house that I had it. And when we came to view this house, I was like, I know the spot for it. It's going right here. And it hosts all of our extra linens and, you know, toothbrushes and all that kind of thing, bath towels, because there's nothing in the bathroom, which I'm going to get to one day, but I haven't quite touched it yet. But I really love this piece. And then again, just another little thrifted find, little table, any moment for a Christmas tree, you guys. We're going to have a quiz at the end. How many Christmas trees did you spot? And yeah, and just another painting from the thrift store. And I love it so much. So the boys' bedroom, this one is so exciting because I just finished it. It still smells like paint. It still smells like wood stain, but it is beautiful. And I'm so happy because, as I said, color, not normally my thing. But when I asked my son, my oldest son, Emmett, he's 9, I said, what do you want to do for your bedroom? And he said, red. And I said, okay, because I love you. So we went with this red. This is Royal Garnet this is Valspar. And I bought what I thought was a high quality paint, but after doing the first coat and it was hot pink, I realized you need to do the most expensive paint you can buy, and you also need to do a dark gray undercoat. And I learned that after doing 5 coats on the wall and after doing 5 coats on the molding, because this room was, again, a blank slate. There was nothing on it. There was no moldings, but I kind of wanted to emulate the downstairs living room where it felt, and when you design a home, you got to have areas that kind of make sense, and I feel like they need to mirror each other a little bit just to kind of give you that cohesion. And especially because you wanted a dark color, I thought, okay, well, let's go ahead and take the molding that we used downstairs in the living room, because I did add that to the walls. I don't think I pointed that out, but I added the molding to the living room. And so I wanted to add it up back here again. I went a little bit more detail on the chair rail right here, just very, very subtle, nothing major, but I'm so happy with how it turned out because it almost killed me. I was like, do I need to repaint this room? Which I will never be repainting this room, you guys. If we're moving and the realtor tells me, oh, you know, real estate value, no, they're getting a red room. So I found this vintage flag I just found on a recent trip while I was looking for items to style this room. I am doing the 1 room challenge again, and this is the room that we're doing. And so I found this. It is a 48-star flag. And so I think I saw that it's anywhere from 1920 to 1949 or 59, somewhere in there. And it was really, really dirty. So I washed it 3 times and I got it as clean as I could, but I still want that vintage feel. So we left a little bit of the dirt on it and tell some of its story. And then the world's tiniest closet exists right here. It's very small. I don't know the contents of it, so we're not going to open it, but it basically goes to right here, and that's it. And we got to, you know, put everything we can in it. So then I found this beautiful piece from Goodwill. This was a Goodwill find, if you can believe it, the color that it is. A lot of my furniture that I find, unfortunately for my vision, I'm like, oh, I need to refinish that. And that is another thing on the to-do list. And so when I found this and I didn't have to touch it, I was so happy. It's like, we're just going to put it here. We're just going to enjoy it and let it be the way it is. And yeah, I love the character of this. It's just, how can you not like character, you guys? It's so pretty. And then again, another thrifted piece of art, some Christmas trees. The boys' Christmas tree, we lend itself more to the red and the browns. And Nutcracker obviously is a little bit of a theme that we have carried throughout here. And you know, the girls get to decorate their tree, the boys get to decorate their tree, and we have a good time. And I love the twinkly lights at night especially. I just think that is the most amazing, just cozy feeling. And then the boys' beds, what a really actually cool story about these, I found one of them, my son just needed a bed for this room because he had been sleeping on the floor in my mom's house. And so we realized that he needed a bed when we came here. And so I found this for $25 on Facebook Marketplace, but it was the honey maple color that you would see in like the 90s, 2000s. And I said, oh, that's fine. We're just going to use it as a placeholder. But then when we went to the local restore, I found the exact same one, same color, $75. So for $100 for 2 beds, I was like, okay, we're keeping them. So I went ahead and bought them. I just thought that was so cool. And then I refinished them, sanded them down, and you can use a gel stain. It kind of acts like a paint. So it's really neat because you don't have to go as hardcore with your sanding. And so I put that on, gave it the darker finish, sealed them up really good because they're boys. And now we have these beautiful beds with, you know, their Nutcracker details and just super cozy, extra blankets to keep them warm. And then I just finished these shelves 2 days ago. I had put these shelves up with the corbels, kind of again emulating the pantry and the kitchen with the same open shelving. And my son saw them and he said, Mom, where am I going to put all my Lego, my new Lego for Christmas? So I guess we're going to have to move some of the books. But yeah, you know, he can showcase some of his favorite books and some of his favorite little Lego pieces and just, you know, make it feel more like home for him. I want the rooms to feel like an extension of the house, but obviously they're kids and it needs to still be a space where they feel at home in here. And so I was with him along the whole journey and the girls of, do you like this? Do you like that? With a little bit of a guidance, of course. And so, yeah, so then we found this piece at an antique store. And that's actually what kind of lent the room to where we're taking it, is because we already had the red color, but that's the only vision I had. And then when I saw this, I was like, oh, let's kind of go for that like Ralph Lauren Americana feel. And I feel like we kind of did it, you know, a little bit, but there's still some things I need to add. We are in the middle of this makeover, but we added some beautiful curtains, the pleating. It's so funny because if you say pleating, you just think like, I don't know, like an older style, but it's coming back around and I just find it so sophisticated and I love it. I love it so much. And then for my son's birthday, because kids, you know, you get toys over the years and at one point you're just like, it's enough, like enough toys. And so for his birthday one year, you know, we took him out for his favorite restaurant. We did get him a Lego, don't worry. But I thought, let's get him a writing desk because he really likes to write and he loves stories and coming up with things. He's such a smart kid. And so we found this at a local store and I just think it's so pretty right under the window. And yeah, he has like his little things in here and just another thrifted chair. I just love the history and I love the character that these pieces have of, you know, who sat at this writing desk and who, you know, whose was this before and what did they do with it? I think that's so neat. And even the beds, you know, the one guy who gave us the bed that we knew his story, he said, this was my childhood bed. Like, it's just so cool. It's so cool. So I love it. And again, we just kind of mimicked what was on the other wall over here. And then I haven't done anything to this wall yet because I don't know if it's too busy. I was going to do a gallery wall, but I wasn't sure if it was too much. So I was letting it breathe for a second, kind of figuring it out. They could probably use more shelves. I really wanted to do bookshelves in here, but the way the beds worked, I wasn't able to make that happen. And I am thinking a little bit about the next person. I'm like, I don't really want to build something because this could have been a master. What happened was when we viewed this home, we saw the bedrooms and this had a blue rug and the girls had a pink rug. And I thought, okay, good, girls' room, boys' room, like done. And then we took the other room and I realized I'm like, wait, this is a really big room. This could have been a master bedroom, but it worked out. I love the 2 beds beside the windows. Again, 3 windows in this room. I love them. They're so beautiful, so much light in this room. He gets the morning and the afternoon sun and it's just a beautiful thing. And then the only thing I haven't touched in this room yet is the ceiling. So I actually am going to be working with a company called American Tin Ceilings, and I have beautiful tin ceilings. They're going to be like a antique brass copper color and just really pretty. I'm going to be putting those up hopefully this week, and that'll just complete the space. And I think it's going to be so cool. And kind of, again, just lending to that like Americana, like really like rich. I wanted it to be masculine, but not where, you know, it's not like a gentleman's club. It's still obviously a boys' room. But yeah, and then we did get this large rug. I worked with Revival again, and this is one of their washable rugs. It's not vintage, but these boys, they're boys. They like to tumble, they like to play, they love Lego. So this is full of Lego. That's got all the trucks. And so they've got the whole rug and the whole room to just kind of be at it and have fun. And I love it. And they do too, thank goodness, because that red was a pain, but I'm really happy with it. So I love to DIY and design myself. And I have had people say, HGTV, or would you ever go and do this for other people? And honestly, it's probably bad, but I think I'm too insecure. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually that good. Part of it still just feels like I'm learning as I go. And so even if I design these spaces and I'm really happy with them and you guys comment and tell me I've done a good job, I still feel like, are you sure? Like Homeworthy reached out to me to come to my house and I said, did you have the right email? Because what an honor for people to think that the work that I do is actually that beautiful. And I still feel like I'm learning. So I don't know if there's a future there. I think maybe I need to trust myself a little bit more and what I'm doing is actually working out, but I'm definitely having fun and I'm open to what the future holds. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So home to me honestly just means safety. It means coziness. For me, it is also just memories. When I think of my home, I think of those good times. I am one of 7 and it could be chaotic at times, I'm sure, but what I really mainly remember is just all of us running in the front door. You throw your shoes off, you throw your bag off, and you just feel so at home. And it's, mom in the kitchen making a snack, maybe dad's on the TV. Not my husband. My husband doesn't watch TV. But it's honestly just being with family, and I think it's the most beautiful thing. And I pray that my kids can take that moving forward, that family means everything and that home is a safe place to land.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.